Raider Nation, what's going on? It's Mitchell Renz here, host of the Raiders Report, and it's Tuesday, which means it's time to go live. If you don't know, we go live every single Tuesday, 4 p.m. Eastern Time, 1 p.m. Pacific, here on the Raiders Report. And if you didn't know that, well, then make sure you're subscribed. That way you can tune in next week and party with us every single Tuesday. Coming up for y'all today on our live program, I'm going to go through all the Raiders training camp news. Typically, I like to try to get this segment out before live starts, but we had a little meeting here at Chat Sports, so I was unable to do that. And when you see the news that I'm going to give you from training camp today, I think there's going to be a lot of people that are going to sit back there and they're going to go, all right, I think the trade now for Thomas Booker does make a little bit more sense. That's the main focus for the first video. Second video we got coming up is going to be why I think the Raiders went out and made this trade. Why the Raiders decided to move on from Jakorian Bennett, because let's face it, yes, we were live yesterday, and yes, we discussed this trade multiple times, and if you haven't already, let me know who you think ended up winning that deal overall. If you want to grade it for me, that's even better as well. Eagles got Jakorian Bennett. The Raiders ended up getting Thomas Booker. But I think that there was a lot of people that said, Mitch, I thought the Eagles won that deal. I wanted the Raiders to be able to keep Jakorian Bennett. And I hear you loud and clear. When I first saw the deal, I thought the exact same thing. But there was that part of me in the back of my mind that said, all right, well, I got to believe in Pete. I got to believe in our coaching staff. There has to be a reason why this trade ended up going down. And yesterday I said I'm going to give it a C grade because I think you have to wait and see what Thomas Booker looks like. I think you got to wait and see what Jakorian ends up looking like. But today something happened at Raiders training camp practice that the light bulb went off in my mind, and I sat up there, I looked at Chuggs, and I was like, the trade makes a lot more sense now to me. And we're going to talk about that a little bit. The other thing that I'm going to do, which I've been super excited about, a Raiders Seahawks preview for their Week 1 preseason game. I'm going to go through every single position, quarterback, running back, wide receiver, position by position, and I'm going to tell you which players you should be watching for, which battles that you should be looking at. We're so close to having football back, it's unbelievable. We're also going to be doing a $20 duck race, so if you want to get in, at Mitchell Renz 365, we gave away $30 late last night, which crazy enough, and I also said this to Jeremy, I was like, dude, I was sitting there covering the breaking news story last night, and if anybody was here, spam me down below. Again, huge shout out to all y'all that pulled up last night. I was thinking to myself at 9:30, holy crap, we're going to be like in the first quarter of that Raiders-Seahawks game on Thursday. It's going to be a late one. Get some caffeine in you.
It's a late start. It's a late start for sure.
A very, very late start. Zachary Rossfield, RJ Cole, Night Uchilla, Sucker Free, all spamming me. Suavemente, I see your super chat. I'll get to it here in a moment because there was some big-time NFL news that literally just ended up going down. Quandre Diggs, a player that I talked about on the video that went out today in my Lonnie Johnson Jr. replacements video. Quandre Diggs just signed to the Tennessee Titans, and I'm always somebody that, yes, this move does not impact the Raiders now. But I think in the National Football League, dominoes do end up falling. And I almost wonder if you're the Raiders and you're sitting there and you're going, well, if I traded away Jakorian Bennett and I lost Lonnie Johnson Jr., those are two players that, in my personal opinion, I valued as being people that were going to make the 53-man roster. Do you agree with that statement? I would imagine the answer to that is yes.
Also, note from our draft expert, Tom Downey. He came in with a little bit of more context to this. Apparently, Quandre Diggs' cousin, Cam Ward.
Really?
Yeah. So apparently, Quandre
I did not
Diggs,
know that.
Cousins with Cam Ward get to reunite and play with a family member. Makes a little bit more sense on why he would go back to Tennessee.
Yeah, I hear you there, which, I don't know, shout out to Tom. I did not know that. But I do honestly think that the Raiders need another player in that secondary, and Quandre Diggs played 5 seasons with Pete Carroll, so there was a reason why I thought that maybe that connection could end up happening. But raise your hand, type me, like the video. If you want the Raiders to go out and get a guy like Justin Simmons, I know I do. I know Chuggs does. I'm sure most of y'all want them too as well. I mean, and for me, it was Justin Simmons was number one.
Yeah, I think I have it.
And then you can make an argument between Quandre Diggs being number 2, maybe somebody along the lines of a Jordan Whitehead, a John Johnson. And the reason why I put Stephon Gilmore on this list because I did this show yesterday, and it was along the lines of, if I'm going to pick up the phone and I'm going to call somebody, first guy I'm calling is Justin Simmons. Let's be honest. And if it's not Justin Simmons, then you got your context all mixed up. So now Quandre Diggs goes off the board. Does that make another domino fall? And if you're the Raiders and potentially you were looking at some safeties that you could bring into this room, does that make you want to go out and get somebody now? Because I know that it is looked at as Lonnie Johnson being done for the year. I've heard multiple people say it, but the Raiders haven't made that announcement yet. Lonnie Johnson's also still on the depth chart.
Pete actually, did you see what Pete said today?
No.
Oh, dude, right before we started filming.
Again, we were in a team meeting, so I apologize if Pete said certain things about Lonnie.
Yeah. He said he was optimistic about the timeline to return for safety Lonnie Johnson Jr.'s broken fibula he suffered in Saturday's mock game. This is what he had to say. These 5 weeks here are hugely important to him, so he can get back within 3 to 4 weeks into the season or whatever it is. So he's making it sound like Lonnie Johnson's going to be on short-term IR and back on the team.
I was going to say, like, one of my buddies who, again, is in the medical field, and I said this in the breaking news video that I did around Lonnie Johnson, which was You
can tweet that video. I just sent it to you in Slack if you want to tweet it out.
I got you. One of the things that I talked about that my friend said was, like, depending on, like, the break, right? If it's, like, a horrific break, that's going to take all year. But if it's, like, a hairline fracture or whatever it ends up being, that can be an 8 to 12-week injury. And I said that on the video, and some of y'all might have remembered me saying it, but it was like, oh, he's done for the year, he's done for the year. I was kind of the one up here saying, yeah, we might think that he's done for the year, but until the Raiders have put out that statement, and Johnson's still on that depth chart, and based on what Pete Carroll is saying right there, I mean, that's a loud statement that he really believes that Johnson's going to be able to come back. So these 5 weeks here are hugely important for him so he can get back within 3 to 4 weeks into the season or whatever it is. That's pretty wild. Can you get me a Lonnie Johnson Jr. player bio? That way I can slap that into the very front of the Raiders news today. Or just at some point in that video. That would be great. But to me, I did wonder if Johnson was going to be out an extended period of time. Could the Raiders potentially look at one of these names here? And with Quandre Diggs going, I mean, imagine this. Imagine if Quandre Diggs and Pete were having some conversations. The medical team came back to the Raiders and were like, hey, Lonnie's not going to be out for the whole year. Quandre Diggs ends up signing to the Tennessee Titans. I'm not saying that's why it happened, but I do truly believe that things like that happen a lot more often than what we realize of just dominoes. They fall, and they fall all the time. We got 420 people here in the building. If you haven't already, make sure you guys click that like button. What up, Suave? We got Crosby, so defense a B without our boy. It definitely be Max a C. See what I did there? Your super chats anymore, I feel like just are all baked potatoes just thrown up here on screen. I know that we have Max, and as long as you have Max, like, you know, you're hoping that you're going to be able to be a solid player, a solid team overall. But at the exact same time, you got to look at how different this defense is and how different Pete Carroll's typical defenses that he runs compared to what Patrick Graham typically runs. And I don't know what type of fronts we're going to be looking at here. I don't know what type of schemes that this team's going with. But overall, yes, we still have Max. Malcolm didn't play last season. You know, Tyree's been there. There are so many new faces in this defense. I am really nervous, I'm not going to lie, to see what it looks like. But I'm also excited to see what it looks like as well. What up, Dawson? You're next up here. Pete said Lonnie is coming back for week 4 or 5 today. Yeah, I mean, that's literally what Chuggs just said, and that's probably why I should have listened to the press conference. But right when we had our team meeting is right when Pete's press conference started. So I'll have to go back and I'll have to check it out. But that's really good news. And that tells me that it wasn't as severe of a break as what we were kind of, you know, maybe originally told. I know that there were some reporters out there. I saw some articles that were like, Lonnie Johnson's going to be out for the season. I think it's one of the reasons, though, that before you cover a story and before you're like, oh, this absolutely happened, I think it's why sometimes you do have to wait a little bit. But man, oh man, how awesome is that for Johnson, for for Lonnie, that he's going to be able to come back here and he's going to be able to get back to full strength. I will say this, and I know that they're probably hoping that he comes back week 4 or 5, but I do wonder with the Raiders, and if you don't want to rush somebody back because you also want to get them in playing shape, the Raiders have their bye week in week 8. And there's a part of me that wonders, sure, this might be the plan, but I would rather have Lonnie Johnson back, football shape, 100% physically healthy, and ready to go for Kansas City week 7 before rushing him back week 4 or 5, week 6. Now, if I can have him get a game under his belt week 6 against the Tennessee Titans, then that's not a bad thing. But yeah, that's great news, man. Lonnie coming back hopefully week 4 or 5. What up, Nav? What's up, fellas? I think the Jakorian Bennett trade is about equal on each side unless Jakorian Bennett just blows up and makes us regret it. Lonnie Johnson is projected back week 5 from what Pete said. Thanks for the great show Friday, Mitch. Hey, dude, shout out to you for being able to organize the whole thing. For those that don't know, my guy Nabman, he invited me on his show last Friday. I was pretty banged up, I'm not going to lie to y'all, but we ended up raising, I told Chuggs, I was like, bro, I think I was on there for like 2.5 hours. But you know what? Real recognize real. Friends recognize friends. Family recognizes family, however you want to say it. We raised $1,000 for somebody who's a loyal watcher here on this program, somebody that, was going through a little bit of a hard time, and I'm not going to bring up who it is. It's not my place to bring it up who it is. But at the same time, like I always say that we have such an amazing community here that we've been able to build on the Raiders Report, and the fact that we were able to help somebody out that watches this show probably almost every day, help them get through something difficult. I was super proud of it. Hell, I remember telling Alex, I go, oh, we raised some money for a Raiders fan. And she was like, well, how much money did you raise? And she's like, well, how long did you talk to him for? I was like, I was on there for about 2.5 hours. She's like, oh, did you raise like $100, $20? And I was like, not quite. $1,000. That's an amazing thing, and Nav, you should be very proud of that. I am going to get into a little bit more here around Jakorian Bennett and a little bit more around Thomas Booker. And when I went to bed last night, and when the trade happened, and I do this every time the Raiders end up making a deal, there's the initial reaction, right? What I love and why I want people to pull up to the show is because I'm a Raider fan just like all of y'all, and I want to be able to give my instant take. I want to be able to give that instant reaction. I'm an emotional person, and I like to be able to communicate and share those thoughts with a lot of people that watch this show.
Also, maybe some more breaking news that Tom's just breaking news left and right on Twitter today for me. Apparently, according to George Kittle, the NFL is banning smelling salts in ammonia packets.
Interesting.
For this season.
Why?
I don't know, but George Kittle literally came over to the set of the NFL Network crew and said, I considered retirement. We have to figure out some sort of middle ground. I use them every drive.
I mean, I know a lot of people do. Like, I don't understand why it would be bad. I guess I'm trying to figure it out. The NFL is like, we can pump you with a whole bunch of painkillers in a blue tent, but you can't sniff salts to make you more awake and alert on the field. I feel
like I've been seeing it, for a while.
Yeah, I quite frankly, I'm shocked that that's even the case. But what I was also saying is, I went to bed last night. I thought about it a little bit more. And when I see Raiders fans freaking out over something, the first thing that I want to do is I want to help people, understand the trade a little bit more. And I do really, really honestly believe after y'all watch today's live show, if you're not sold on the Jakorian Bennett trade, and believe me, I'm not going to sit up here and act like you're crazy for feeling that way. JB was the best corner we had on our team last season, though he got number 49 on the Eagles. I'll tell you this right now, that's some bad mojo for anybody going to a new team when you get slapped with the number 49 if you're a cornerback, let's be honest. But I do really think that when you guys see today's video, both of our first two videos, you're going to go, all right, it makes sense a little bit more now why the trade ended up happening. And that's hopefully what ends up happening today. Raider Muerte, always sending in the good vibes. Muerte, appreciate you, dog. I really, really do. Big monkey? Bro, I'll tell you this. You're going to get me in trouble. You got to...
What a profile picture,
You either got to put a shirt on or change your name, dude. I've worked too hard in my career to get canceled. Imagine Parsons, Crosby, and Kuntz. I'll tell you this, a Raiders defensive line with Max Crosby, Malcolm Kuntz, and Micah Parsons, I'm going to be sitting probably looking like you. I'm going to just be totally naked enjoying this whole thing going down here. I'll tell you this, man. Like, I know how good Micah Parsons is. And I know Micah and Crosby are boys. But also at the same time, I think one of the things that we also have to look at is the things of outside of football. And Micah has the same agent as Christian Wilkins, and that agent right now does not like the Las Vegas Raiders at all.
I can't even look at the profile. Bro.
I'm worried if he banged.
Those are the biggest nips I've ever seen.
I'll tell you this, dude doesn't miss chest day. Monday, bench press. Tuesday, dumbbell flies. Wednesday, more bench press. Thursday, push-ups. Friday, tricep dips, followed up by more bench press.
Those got to be the biggest.
Oh, dude, I'm not going to lie. I didn't see the nipples at first.
Bro.
I did not. Bro, I'll tell you what. You guys are going to get me in trouble. You guys are, you got to stop, dude. You're going to have to get it together. Somebody tell Chuggs to figure it out here. Matt said, I think that's Wilkins. Bro, that's too much. That's too much. All right.
Oh, my God.
I think we broke Chuggs, and before this channel gets canceled, we got coming up here the first segment on today's show. Today's deals are going to be pretty simple. Every $5 super chat, you're going to get a raffle ticket to get in our fantasy football drawing, which, by the way, already 6 people are in. We're giving away whoever's the bang MVP in August. You're going to get in. We're doing another raffle in August, so you're going to have a shot there.
Well, no, we're doing this. Is this raffle going for Thursday, or is this at the end of the month still?
This one's at the end of the month.
Oh, okay.
We're doing an end of the month raffle. We're also, wink, wink, nudge, nudge, going to do a raffle this Thursday. So
I don't know if I just broke the news on accident.
No, not quite, but it's all good. $20 Venmo to get in the duck race. Every hundo is a bang. And the last time that I checked, our bang MVP for the month of August right now, it is a two-way race. It is, it's between Bayou and it's between Cass Joey and Bayou Raider. The thing that just happened, we got some breaking news. It's around the Minnesota Vikings. Wide receiver Jordan Addison has been suspended without pay for the first 3 games of the 2025 season for violating the NFL substance abuse policy. Addison recently resolved the 2024 DUI citation by pleading no contest. The reason why, can you put either a player bio for Addison or that tweet by Schefter, Pelissero, Rappaport, whoever? The reason why that's important is because Charles Snowden is also facing a very similar situation. So Snowden had his court case on July 22nd. Schefter, I believe, if my memory serves me correctly, said that Addison's court case was like July 15th. So I'm just going to speculate because Addison got a 3-game suspension without pay, I am also going to expect that Charles Snowden is also going to get one. So keep that in mind. Again, I know it's not exactly the same, but the NFL does operate like that, and I think because Addison got his, you're probably going to see Charles Snowden potentially get one as well. So just keep that in mind.
All right, putting the tweet in
Right
now.
That'll be in the front. That'll be in the front. All right, so I'm looking right now. I want to see how many people are getting in this duck race today, which, by the way, today's a really important day to get in the duck race because I said yesterday I would give you guys some deals. I'm going to give you guys some deals today. Because on Thursday, we typically go live an hour before a game. But it's going to be a late game on Thursday. I mean, 9 o'clock our time, 10 o'clock Eastern, 8 o'clock could be the time we decide to go live. So I asked y'all yesterday, and this is the deal on today's program. If we get through all 6 of these steps, Jeremy Chuggs and I, we're going to go live for not just 1 hour before game day on Thursday. We're going to go live 2 hours before kickoff. And the way that needs to happen, we got to get through all 6 steps. Step 1 coming up here is this. It's simple. We need a bang to reveal what step 2 is. And I promise you this. The first 2 hours of that show are going to be absolutely electric. I've already started planning it out. I've already started doing some homework on it. And I think that you guys are going to have one hell of a time. So we'll go to step 2, but I need somebody to step up, and I need somebody to throw in a bang. Let's go to Patrick Roche, the guy that did more banging than anybody last month. What up, Roche? Who do you think will step up and fill Bennett's position? I think the obvious answers are the top 3 corners of Jakorian, Eric Stokes, and then Darian Porter, but those guys were above Jakorian. I think the one player that I'm going to talk about a little bit more in length on today's program, JT Woods. And JT Woods was a recent signing, but he's somebody that's been getting cornerback 1 reps. Somebody that has a lot of versatility in that secondary. Somebody that has the speed, that has the length that Jakorian didn't quite have. I think JT Woods is a name. And then, I'm not going to say totally fill it in, but watch out for Greedy Vance, because dude is shooting up some boards, man. Let's go to Hella High Javi. I'll tell you what, the picture matches. I'm excited to see our rookie defensive tackles eat this year. Well, I don't know if you saw the depth chart, but the Raiders listed Tonka Hemingway as a defensive end. And they listed J.J. Pegues at defensive tackle. I saw that, and I thought that was very, very intriguing to me. And that's going to be another one of those small reasons why, when you hear that, when you see that, you're going to go, all right, maybe that Thomas Booker trade does make a little bit more sense. Because then I'm going to tell you one more thing during our training camp show, and then you're going to go, all right, yeah, now it really makes sense of why the Raiders went out and traded for Thomas Booker. Hella high. I'm excited too, though. I can't wait to see Tonka. I can't wait to see J.J. Pegues, though I'll be very transparent. I don't think you're going to see a lot of Tonka and J.J. Pegues this upcoming season during the regular season. From what I understand, they're not quite ready yet. Cass Joey, still not happy with the compensation. Just got in. What's everybody's grade on defense as of now? I'd say a C, potentially B at best. Right now, when I look at this Raiders defense, I am concerned with this defense. And I always try to be very transparent. I would say it's a C. That's kind of how I feel. And that's me even being on the more confident side, believing in Patrick Graham, believing in Pete Carroll, believing in a guy like Rob Leonard. Because I do think, on paper, I think we have one of the worst secondaries in the entire league. I'll be very transparent on that. There is a part of me that wants to hope and believe that, the 3 linebackers, maybe top 4 linebackers that we have, the veterans, they're going to be able to step up. The corners that we have, our top 3 guys, they're going to be able to play at a high level. Jeremy Chin, Isaiah Paul-Lamal, hopefully they're able to play at a high level. And then our defensive line. To me, our defensive line has to be unbelievable. I need Tyree to play the way that I'm hoping he's going to be able to play. I need Malcolm to look the way that he did before. I need Max to stay healthy. And if we're able to get pressure with our defensive line, I do think our defense could be a lot better than what people realize. But because our defense isn't great at covering, if we're not getting pressure, I do get really nervous about what our defense could look like. What up, Michaels? I heard Wilkes was... Patrick Roche! Bang! From the top, Roche! Thank God we got off of that one. I was a little bit nervous we were about to get in trouble. And Patrick Roche with the bang. The man that banged more than anybody. Last month, the bang MVP, which now gives him 2 bangs for the month of August. Shout out to you. But you know what? You know what's good? 1 bang. You know what's great? Back-to-back bangs. Back! Naaman! Bang! I'm not doing the first sentence. How many baby goats? Nope. I'll start the shenanigans. Bring it on. Christian Wilkins' agent said, quote, "It's an unfortunate situation
that I have talked to him about more than once." There you go.
Yeah, I know what Adam Schefter reported, and I know Schefter reported that it was a kiss on the forehead. Here's the thing, again, and, I haven't really talked about the Wilkins situation anymore because at this point, he's not on our team. We'll get more information when we get more information out. But if there was one thing that I came away from, and, this started, I said it right from the jump that I thought Wilkins' agent said that to Schefter to make it seem a little bit less of what it is. But for insiders, for people that looked at me, oh, wow. Shedeur Sanders is expected to start for the Cleveland Browns in their opener against the Panthers in preseason. Wild. If there's one thing, though, that came across to me, the amount of stories of it's too crazy to go public with. It's too this. It's not a kiss on the forehead bad. And again, I think if the rumors are true that it was about Adam Butler and it was, around Butler, I talked to a former Raiders player a few weeks ago about it, and somebody that was teammates with Wilkins, somebody that was teammates with Adam Butler. And I asked for his 2 cents, and basically he just told me that really unfortunate situation, and he's praying for both families. I think we all know at this point it's a lot more than what's being relayed, at least. It's been a lot more that's been relayed. So, Chuggs.
Praying for both families.
Praying for both families. Yep. How about this? We did just get by step number 1. So now what we got to do is we got to get to step number 2. And I need 10 people to join the duck race to reveal what step 3 is on this show. And I'm looking right now, and I see Ray Aguirre, I got you in. 93 Nav, I got you in. Fabian Moreno, I got you in. I'll be talking about him in a little bit. My dad said, Mitch, get me in that duck race. $20 Venmo at Mitchell Renz 365 is how you're going to end up getting in to this duck race. So you know what I want to do? I want to get into the very first segment on this show. And I'm hoping by the time we are done with the first segment, we have reached our goal. I need 6 more people to join the duck race. 6 more people to join the duck race. Coming up live here on the Raiders Report, we are going to get into the training camp news and notes that you need to know from today. I am also going to talk about just some of my biggest takeaways from the brand new Raiders depth chart that was just put out, and there's a lot to digest in there. One rookie, I'll tell you this. There's one rookie that needs to be very nervous about making the roster, and it's not looking good for someone. I'll tell you that right now. It's not looking good for somebody. We're going to talk about all that, the training camp news, and I think the other thing that you're going to see from the first little bit of news on today's show, you're going to see, again, why the Raiders ended up trading for Thomas Booker. And I think you're going to go multiple times today. Yep, that's why they did it. Yep, all right, that's why they did it. Oh, son of a gun. That's why they ended up doing it. I know. Bro, I just clicked on your name on Slack. We're gonna have to make some room.
Bro,
we're gonna have to make some room, dude.
Absolutely diabolical.
Yeah, it's something, all right. It's something, all right. All right, y'all. Let's get into the very first segment here on today's episode. Reminder, I got to get people in this duck race at Mitchell Renz 365. We're going to talk about the training camp news and notes from today. Then I'll tell you how many people are in the duck race. Then I got 2 more segments coming up on this show. We're going to have a lot of fun today. Huge shout out to Patrick Roche. Huge shout out to my guy 93 Nabman for always making this program as fun as it can be. Raider Nation, what's going on? It's Mitchell Renz here, host of the Raiders Report. And coming up on today's show, I'm going to get into all the Raiders training camp news that you need to see. And I'm very confident when you get done watching this video, you're going to sit at home or wherever you're watching this. Maybe you're watching it on the toilet, dropping a number 2. You're going to go, all right, the Jakorian Bennett for Thomas Booker trade, it makes a little bit more sense after seeing some of the news that happened today. Also, at the very end of today's program, the Raiders released their official depth chart, or technically unofficial depth chart, on the offensive side of the football and the defensive side of the football. I'm going to give you my biggest takeaways from that. But first, NFL news that you need to know. And the reason why that I bring this up is because the Raiders are in a very similar situation right now with Charles Snowden, who had a court case on July 22nd for a DUI. If you remember in the video that I did around Snowden, I told everybody the one player that you should be looking at is Jordan Addison, who is also right now experiencing something very similar to Snowden, and the NFL just suspended him 3 games without pay for that DUI violation. Snowden is probably going to face a very similar suspension, so I just want you to keep this in the back of your mind. The dominoes are starting to fall. The ball is starting to roll here a little bit. I think a suspension for Snowden is going to be coming, and it's probably going to be 3 games. Another move that ended up happening literally just a few minutes ago, Quandre Diggs, he ended up signing to the Tennessee Titans, and I was sitting back, and I always wonder what dominoes can fall when other stuff happens. The Raiders potentially lost Lonnie Johnson for the season. Doesn't sound like they lost him for the season anymore if you listen to Pete Carroll's press conference. We'll talk about that here in a moment. But there's been a lot of people like myself who have been wondering, are the Raiders going to go out and are they going to get a safety? Yeah, I want Justin Simmons. Quandre Diggs has been somebody that I've been talking about a bunch, though. And because Diggs just ended up going back to the Tennessee Titans, does that mean the Raiders could pick up the phone and give Simmons a call, John Johnson a call, somebody else on the open market, Jordan Whitehead, whoever it is? Maybe it's Stephon Gilmore at corner. I don't know exactly. But the big-time training camp news that y'all need to know today, Leki Fotu, Raiders defensive tackle, he found himself in a walking boot. And I don't know if it's just you. I don't know if I have PTSD, but I hear defensive tackle, I hear walking boot, and I go, not again. But also, this should have popped up. That light bulb should have gone off in your head, and you should have go, all right, well, now the trade with Jakorian Bennett for Thomas Booker, it makes just a little bit more sense because Leki was the guy that when Wilkins went down, Fotu was the one that they were putting into the mix there, and they were trying to see what he had to offer. And Fotu was kind of in that mix to be one of those top defensive tackles. So what do the Raiders do? They go out and they get a Thomas Booker, somebody that's got a Super Bowl championship under his belt, somebody that, has actually gotten a lot of high praise for some previous Eagles players, just couldn't quite find the field because of how talented that defensive tackle room was. But I know, myself included, I was joined by thousands of people live yesterday going, Mitch, why did the Raiders just trade away Jakorian Bennett? I think it's because Leki Fotu's banged up. Christian Wilkins, we're still looking for a replacement for him. And the Raiders did something very interesting on their depth chart that we will talk about here in just a moment. So what is your confidence level in the Raiders defensive tackle? Scale it from 1 to 10. 1, you're not confident at all. 10, you are very, very confident in this unit. My answer coming up after this YouTube ad break. I'm going to go 5 out of 10. And I say that because I think it's a coin flip. There are some really talented players on that defensive tackle room. If you're telling me I can add Tyree Wilson to the DT room, I'll go up to a 6. The Raiders listed Tonka Hemingway as a defensive end, not a defensive tackle. So that makes me think, all right, that defensive tackle room did get a little bit worse. With Leki right now being banged up, I believe in Rob Leonard. I believe in Pete Carroll. I believe in this stat. But when you look at the players on paper, it's not a great defensive tackle room. That we have to be honest with ourselves about. Also, some good news here. A possible return this upcoming season for Lonnie Johnson Jr. I said this earlier in the week when I saw a lot of people going, oh, Johnson's out for the year. Johnson's out for the year. I sat up here and I was like, well, technically that's not true because the Raiders haven't made that announcement yet, and they're keeping him on the roster, which they have done. Today, during his press conference, Pete Carroll said that the hope is that they're going to be able to get back Johnson in weeks 4 to 5. I also do wonder, could the Raiders potentially be a little bit more safer? They play the Chiefs week 7. Do you make sure that he's 100% healthy? Do you try to get him an extra game before that? Week 6 against the Titans, week 5 against the Indianapolis Colts. But the Raiders also have that week 8 bye. To make sure that you don't rush a player back, I wonder if the Raiders could wait until week 7, week 8. But the fact that Pete Carroll said today that the hope is that they're going to be able to get him back by week 4 or 5, that's a really good sign. And I think it's also a sign that maybe they don't go out and try to get a safety or somebody else in that secondary. Let's go to the next thing here that I saw from Raiders training camp news today. Alex Kappa, he did not participate in practice today. He had a baseball cap on, and it's kind of the final practice. It's the final practice before the Raiders are going to be battling, going up against the Seattle Seahawks. I think that this also just shows that JPJ is going to be the one starting at right guard. But when you look at the Raiders depth chart, they put Kappa and JPJ both at starting right guard. Very interesting there. Brock Bowers, another phenomenal day for him. 2 touchdowns. He's so good, and I feel like I'm about to go into a territory here of, I did it a few years ago where I stopped talking about Max during these shows because it was like every day, Max Crosby did this, Max Crosby did that, Max did this. Brock's starting to kind of get in that realm of, if he's not doing something amazing, then, you're like, well, what the hell's going on? He's just so good every day. Another 2 touchdown day. Geno Smith, Brock Bowers. I said 9 touchdowns for Brock. I'm going to stick to that number. I think he's getting 9, maybe double digits this season. Jack Besh, Alex Bachman, Colin Johnson, all got runs with the ones today. And I'm not looking at that as, oh man, Jack Besh, Alex Bachman, and Colin Johnson are all going to be starters this season. I think what Pete Carroll is trying to do is he's trying to prep the nation and trying to prep a bunch of us because, yes, Pete did say that the starters are going to be ready to go. He kind of hinted that they could play, though. In the past years, Pete doesn't always typically play a lot of his starters. But the way that I looked at this is the top 3 receivers that the Raiders want to see the most out of in this first preseason game. Jack Besh, Alex Bachman, Colin Johnson. Quite frankly, I think the Raiders could keep 2 out of those 3 receivers on this 53-man. If it was up to me, I'd keep Besh. I think they're going to keep Alex Bachman. I'll talk more about that in just a little bit. But for those that do not know, I am going to be live for this Raiders preseason game. So if you could, set a reminder in your calendar. Put a reminder on your phone. I'm going to be going live, no doubt, 1 hour before. If you're watching this show and you're watching Tuesday Live, I put out a deal that I might even go live 2 hours before. If you believe in Raider Nation as much as I do, then be ready to go live 2 hours before this one's getting started, because I'm telling you this right now, we will be the #1 most watched Raiders Seahawks show on YouTube. We will be the largest watch party out there, and I'm hoping we can get to 100,000 people watching for a preseason game. I've never done that before, and I'm going to challenge the nation to help us get there. Make sure you're subscribed. Let's go to the final thing here today for my training camp notes. Michael Mayer, another touchdown for him. And I just keep bringing up the touchdowns for the tight ends because Chip Kelly is showing you that he is doing a great job with the vertical passing attack. He's also showing you, though, that he can get Bowers involved, that he can get Michael Mayer involved. And I do really believe that both of these guys are going to have a solid season this year for the Silver and Black. The other day, somebody was asking me, Mitch, do you think Michael Mayer is worth picking up in a fantasy football league? It would have to be a deep league, like a 14-teamer, but I do think it's something to just keep in mind because if, God forbid, if something did happen to Brock, the Raiders are going to use Mayer, and Mayer's going to be a very touchdown-specialized guy, but I could absolutely see him getting 4 to 5 touchdowns this upcoming season, which does hold a little bit of fantasy value. Coming up next here on the show, we're going to get into the Raiders depth chart takeaways, and I probably could have done an entire show around the Raiders depth chart, but just because of all the other things there were to talk about between the trade last night, training camp practice today, the Raiders preview up against Seattle, I had to smush some stuff together a little bit, and hopefully you guys don't mind if I'm smushing from time to time. It makes me think of a Jersey Shore reference, and I don't miss Jersey Shore. Though, I did go to college with Snooki's husband, Gianni, for a year, which is pretty wild. Met Snooki one time. That's besides the point. My point here is we got Raiders jerseys on sale. Go to chatsports.com/Raiders jerseys. If you're looking for a Brock Bowers, Ashton Genty, Max Crosby, if there's a player that rocks with the silver and black, we got jerseys for it. And they go in sizes from small all the way up to 5XL. Some of you are probably like, Mitch, can I get a jersey for my kids? Yes, you can. Can I get a jersey for my wife? Yes, you can. Can I get a jersey for my side piece? You can get it for all your pieces, quite frankly. And they have all sorts of colors. They have also some of the legendary players as well, because believe me when I get it, I've seen people get a Darren Waller jersey, a Josh Jacobs jersey, Henry Ruggs jersey, you name it. There's been jerseys where we can't wear them anymore. But you know what jerseys you can wear? All of the Hall of Famers, Ken Stabler, Howie Long, Bo Jackson, Jim Plunkett. There are tons and tons of NFL Hall of Fame, Raider Hall of Fame players at chatsports.com/Raiders jerseys, and they're on sale. Some of them are a little bit more on sale than $26. Some are a little bit more expensive. My point is, jerseys are on sale, and I have no idea how much longer they're going to be on sale for. But if you need one, go get one. All right, let's go to the training camp. Depth chart takeaways. I'm going to start on the offensive side of the football, and then I will go to the defensive side of the football and just give you my quickest takeaways. Now, first, what I want to show you is the official, unofficial Raiders depth chart that they released, and there's a lot to digest in here. At the very top, you see wide receiver. Some people might think that means wide receiver 1. I would really look at that as more of like Jacoby's in the slot, which is why they have him listed there. You can see the offensive line, you see the tight end, the running back room. To me, the first thing that jumped out at me, and it's just because it's what I look for every time I see a depth chart or every time I see the Raiders go out at practice field, who's at center? And Jordan Meredith is at center. And the fact that Meredith is at center and it says JPJ and Alex Kappa at right guard, I think that tells me everything that I need to know. That the Raiders really do value that Meredith is going to be the starting center this season and that JPJ's got a battle against Alex Kappa to be right guard. I am hopeful that the Raiders realize that JPJ is better, but I also have to do this as a host. And we have to do this a better job as a fan base. I went back and I watched some clips of JPJ at that Raiders mock game, and he wasn't nearly as clean as what I thought he should have been. I expect more from JPJ. Y'all should expect more from JPJ, and I hope that we see it in this preseason game against the Seattle Seahawks. Next thing that I noticed, the running back 2 battle. Ashton Genty's the number 1. But if you looked at that list, it said Zamir White, Raheem Mostert, Chris Collier for the running back 2 duties. That means Sincere McCormick and Dylan Laube on the outside. I'll tell you this right now. Raiders aren't keeping Dylan Laube on this roster. And it's only a matter of time before we accept that fact or however you want to put it. But Laube ain't making this team. And if he does, he's doing wild shit during preseason games. Like, he's got to be going off and doing stuff like Tyreek McAllister in the final preseason game where you're like, you have to keep this guy. I'm telling you, though, that running back 2 battle, watch out for Chris Collier being a sneaky guy. He's been doing a lot of good stuff. Zamir White continues to do a lot of good stuff. Raheem Mostert, I almost wonder if they did that because Mostert missed some practices just due to the birth of his child, but definitely going to be a battle to watch. Tight end 3 battle. We know Bowers and Mayer are 1 and 2, but Ian Thomas kind of looked like he was safely going to be the tight end 3. If you also notice, Justin Shorter was listed as a wide receiver, not as a tight end. But one of the things that I love that Pete Carroll does is as soon as anybody thinks, oh, that guy's got that battle locked in, no doubt about it, goes out, trades for Albert OK, former 4th-round tight end drafted by the Denver Broncos, got some ties to this current organization as the Raiders' assistant general manager, Brian Stark, and now he's competing with Ian Thomas for that tight end 3 spot. Quite frankly, I think that they could keep all 4 of those tight ends. Let's go to the top 3 wide receivers. We know that it's going to be Dante Thornton Jr., that it's going to be Trey Tucker, and it's going to be Jakobi Meyers. Those are your top 3. But then, what's after that? Because from what it looks like it's going to be Alex Bachman, Jack Besh, and Colin Johnson. That is based off of the way that the Raiders put some players out there onto the field, at least just today for running with the ones, if you're following along at practice. But I right now really do think that the top 6 wide receivers on this team are Jakobi Meyers, Trey Tucker, Dante Thornton, and I will say going forward on my Raiders wide receiver depth chart, just because it's the way the Raiders have it listed, you're going to see Jakobi as wide receiver 1/slot, and all the players underneath him are going to be those slot players. Let's go to the final note here, and it's Alex Bachman. If you followed this show over the past week, let's say 10 days, one of the things that I've said multiple times on this program is Alex Bachman continues to work his way up that depth chart, which means bad news for Tommy Malott as he continues to fall down. I know in my most recent 53-man, I did not have Bachman on the team. I'm pretty confident I'm going to put Alex Bachman on the team next time, even if it means I got to move on from a certain rookie. Let's go to the defensive side of the football, and there's a lot to be able to digest on this depth chart. I'm not going to lie to you, and you can look from the very top, you can go all the way down. Again, I could have done an entire video on all this stuff, but the very first thing that I noticed, Tonka Hemingway being listed as a defensive end. And reminder, I am filming this video on Tuesday, August 5th. The same day that Jordan Addison just got suspended. I wonder if the Raiders are putting Tonka at defensive end right behind Charles Snowden because they think that Snowden can get a 3-game suspension for that DUI that he had back on December 10th, 2024. Court case was on July 22nd. But Tonka, before anybody freaks out, they're like, why are they switching him? He was a defensive end defensive tackle. You know I've said tweener 100 million times on this program. That's what Tonka Hemingway is. He's a bit of a tweener. Look at him as like a Tyree Wilson type of player. Let's then go to the next thing, the top 6 linebackers. The top 6 linebackers on that depth chart, Jermaine Pratt, Devin White, Landon Roberts, Jamal Adams, Tommy Eichenberg, and then what exactly is in the mix? Because guess who's next? Jalen Smith. And Jalen Smith was listed as the number 2. Not Amari Gaynor, not Cody Lindenberg, and I know the Raiders drafted Lindenberg in the 7th. I was talking to somebody close to Lindenberg, and based on the conversations that I've had, it sounds like it's up in the air of whether or not he's going to make the roster or not. For a dude like Amari Gaynor, he keeps falling behind. This team wants to be a little bit more physical. Jamal Adams has played really well, but when the Raiders listed their top 6 linebackers, Cody Lindenberg went in that top 6. Amari Gaynor wasn't in that top 6. Linebackers absolutely going to be a battle to watch in the preseason. Let's go to the top 4 defensive tackles. Adam Butler's the easy one, but Leki Fotu's in a boot right now, and he's somebody that they have listed as a top 4 defensive tackle. The Raiders went out, they traded for Thomas Booker, and I am hopeful, quite frankly, if the Raiders don't keep Booker and they traded away Jakorian Bennett, I'm going to be really pissed off, and that's just point blank simple. So I believe that Booker is somebody that's a lock to make this team. But Leki right now battling a little bit of injuries. Zach Carter's kind of in the mix there. J.J. Pegues is up there in the mix. But right now our top 4 defensive tackles, Jonnu Lalu, Adam Butler, Leki Fotu, Zach Carter. But if you looked at the depth chart, they still show Jakorian and they don't show Thomas Booker. So I think that there is a clear-cut top 5 DTs. Lalu, Carter, Booker, Butler, Fotu. Let's go to the next thing. Greedy, Vance, JT Woods continue to climb up that depth chart, and I think that these are the 2 players, low-key, are why the silver and black decided to move on from a Jakorian Bennett. Yes, Jakorian was a good outside corner, but the Raiders were very confident in Stokes, Porter, and Richardson to be those outside guys. So I almost wonder if they were trying to make Jakorian an inside corner, realize, you know what, he's not going to be able to do it, but JT Woods maybe can. Maybe Greedy Vance can overall. Darnay Holmes is probably sweating that Greedy's going to end up taking his job, but I do know for a fact that this team loves what they have, and they love what they have right now with JT Woods and Greedy Vance. And then the final thing that I ended up noticing, Eric Stokes, Darian Porter are going to be your top 2 corners, and this is kind of what it's been all off season long. Stokes has earned that number 1 corner spot, and Darian Porter continues to go out there and show out that he is a legit outside piece that I think is only going to get better and better and better. So out of all those takeaways, out of everything that you saw in the depth chart, maybe I missed something that, y'all are like, bro, I don't know how you didn't bring this up. Cool part about this show is you guys can let me know. Please, 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 what is your biggest depth chart takeaway? My biggest depth chart takeaway, can you switch up those photos before you show it, is about to come up here in just a moment, and I'm making Chuggs stall, and it's because of me. I tried to build something, and that's just why I should never build anything on this program. But I think one of the biggest takeaways from the depth chart, I can just say it, is got to be around Tommy Mellott. And it's got to be around Mellott because over the past week to 10 days, when I've been talking a lot about Bachman, the news and reports that I have been getting are Mellott's not looking too good. And, this was somebody that the Raiders were hopeful that they could put him on punt return. They were hopeful they'd be able to put him on kick return. And I'll be very transparent. I do not know if he's going to end up making this roster. You were so close. I know, I screwed everything up. Don't worry. Daniel Carlson and A.J. Cole don't look like Trey Tucker, I promise you. But what I really wanted to be able to point out is overall the fact that when you look at that punt return screen, you see Trey Tucker is listed as the starter at punt return, and he's listed as the starter at kick return. Also, though, the backup punt returner, they have listed Ashton Genty. That's mind-blowing to me. The other guy they have listed, Alex Bachman. Then you go look at kick return. It's Sincere McCormick. It's Dylan Laube. They don't even have Tommy Mellott listed. They have him listed as fourth string on special teams, and then they have him listed behind Alex Bachman on the wide receiver room. I know yesterday I said that I would keep Mellott, and I'll stand 10 toes on that. I would keep Tommy Mellott because he's a player that you knew was going to be a developmental player. And I don't know why you would take somebody that you know is going to be a developmental player if you're not going to try to develop him. So I would still keep him on the roster, but I'm telling you this right now, there is a chance that Mellott doesn't make this roster. There is a chance that Cody Lindenberg doesn't make this roster. And I think we just got to realize just because you draft somebody doesn't make them a lock to make this roster. You know what is a lock? I'm going to be hanging out in Tucson, Arizona. Put it down on your calendar, Friday, August 22nd. And if anybody wants to come hang out with me, I'm going to be hanging out with Fabian Moreno and a bunch of crazy Raiders fans. For those of you that do not know, this is going to be right before the Raiders' final preseason game up against the Arizona Cardinals. If you're like, Mitch, I live near Tucson. Or, Mitch, I'll pull up and I'll come hang out with you guys from, 12 to 3. Yep. Noon to 3 o'clock, I'm going to be at Desert Shark Tucson. Here is the address if you want to be able to put it in. We're going to be hanging out. We're going to have some good food. We're going to have some good beers. Somebody who has always been a big supporter on the show this offseason, my guy Fabian Moreno. Some of y'all might know him as the Night Devil. I gave him a deal earlier in the offseason. I said, hey, man, if you're the Bang MVP for 2 straight months, I'm going to come out and visit you. So he's really excited about it. I hope that y'all are really excited about it. And if you want to hang out, talk a little bit of Raiders, I'll also say this. Just like I said to Nab, man, I'm only going to be on your show for 30 minutes, and I was there for 2.5 hours. If we get a bunch of people that show up, there's no reason why we can't hang out all day. Literally, I have nothing planned that day. I am flying in the morning, and I'm leaving the next day to go cover the game here at Chat Sports. If y'all want to hang out Friday, August 22nd, you better get your butt to Desert Shark Tucson from noon to 3 o'clock. And the more people that are there at 3, the longer we're going to continue to hang out. Can't wait for the meetup. Can't wait to meet you, Fabian, and everybody that's been involved. And I can't wait to meet the entire Raiders fan group out there as well. So for those that do not know, today's deals are as followed. Every $5 super chat that we get, you're going to be entered in a fantasy football raffle. If you're trying to put some money in your pocket, which speaking of, I said I needed 6 more people to get into the duck race, and then I can reveal what step number 3 is if you want me to go live for 2 hours before Raiders up against the Seahawks. I am going to pull up my phone right now. I am looking. You can enter the race, $20 Venmo at Mitchell Renz 365. The people that have gotten in, oh, we're definitely good. Yep, we are definitely going to be good to move forward. Philip Bogert, you in. I see Carlos Rod, you in. Actually, Philip Bogert won yesterday. Shout out to him for pulling back up. Richard Kelly here. Joshua Martinez in the building. Patrick Roche, always good to see you. I see Dungeon Fitness. Charles Dixon. Efrain Ramos. Richard Black. Bruce Bird. And got a few more. Rustin Long, Brandon Kimball, Victor Lobos, Pete Cast, Jeff, that says Ramey, hopefully that's right, Jeff Ramey, and then Anthony Green, $20 Venmo. At the end of today's show, you have the opportunity to go home with $200 here on the Raiders Report. Actually, I lied. Mark Call in. Darian Schofield in. 20 to win, $220 on the program. All right, next step. I need 3 people with at least 5K XP to reveal what step number 4 is. I'm looking right now. Navman was at 5. Patrick Roche was at 5. And I believe we are really close to getting another one because Mark Prosser! Bang! Prosser! Mark Hurrah, sir. Can't wait for Thursday's game. Let's go, Raider Nation. How much do you think, if any, Jeanty will play? Well, how about this? First question is this. Do you want Ashton Jeanty to play in that preseason game? Because Jeremy and I, we were talking about it today where it's like, of course, everybody wants to see Jeanty play. But there is that risk of injury in a preseason game. And I'll say it like this. If Pete wants to put Jeanty out there, let's put him out there. And that's how I'll look at it. I'll also say I can remember the year when Josh McDaniels took over. He put Josh Jacobs in the Hall of Fame game, and everybody was like freaking the F out. That's also the season Jacobs went for, I believe, 2,000 total yards. So I get it. There's the injury factor. But with a team that's got a brand new OC, a brand new quarterback, a brand new offense in general, if it was me, I would put my starters out there. Even if it's just for a drive. And I don't think it's a bad thing to do because I want them to go out and just, kick off some of the rust. I get it's a mock game. They did it on Saturday. If it was up to me, I would put Ashton Jeanty out there. And even if he doesn't touch the ball, if the Raiders just want to put Jeanty out there and all he's doing is just, honestly, running routes, trying to catch a football or two, that's fine with me. Let's see him out there. I want to get him out there on the field. So I did just notice Mark, this is Canadian, and it looks like it's not quite up to 5,000 XP. So I do see Patrick Roche is past 5,000 XP. I see 93 Nabman is past 5,000 XP. Mark is the closest. We have a few other people that are very close as well. So once we get somebody else past 5,000 XP, we will reveal what the next step is to get us to go live for 2 hours. Let's go to Richard Black. Mark, appreciate you, dude. I am trusting our regime. They are winners and will show. I feel the know what we have. Kuntz will go off. Secondary will shock. I do really think that the biggest contributing factor of how good our defense is going to be, honestly, is how much of a step Tyree Wilson and Malcolm Kuntz take. Because if Malcolm looks like the player that he was the first half of 2023, that's going to be a little bit nervous. It's going to make me nervous. If Malcolm plays the way that he has played and the way that we know that he can play, on top of the fact of somebody like a Tyree Wilson, you add all of that into the mix. But our corners, if Darian Porter can be that guy, if Eric Stokes can be that guy, if some of these players can take that next step, I have a lot of hope. But I've also had a lot of hope before as a Raiders fan. Let's go to S. Dot with Max and Malcolm on the end. Devin White and Adams, 4-4, 4-3 as speed as blitzes up the middle. Quarterbacks will either throw it to the 4-3 speed secondary or take a sack. I know Devin White and Jamal Adams are fast. I'll be honest. Neither of those guys is running the 4-3. Neither of those guys at this point is running the 4-4. Now, that's still, 4-4 for a linebacker is flying. For somebody that size, I do know that they have that downfield ability, and, that's what they're going to do. You're going to use Jamal as a blitzer. You got to use him up near the line. You got to let Devin White be an athlete, go out and try to attack. That's also going to be something that's very intriguing to me because Patrick Graham typically isn't somebody that blitzes a lot. Pete Carroll is somebody that blitzes a lot, and this is a defense that I think is being built a lot closer to what Pete has typically done than what Patrick Graham has typically done. Let's go to Big Monkey. Should the Raiders get another wide receiver? Bro, you got to stop. I don't think that we do. And I only say that we don't have to because this team is a lot more confident in their wide receivers than what people realize. The Raiders really like Jack Besh. They like Alex Bachman. They love Trey Tucker. They love Dante Thornton. They love Jacoby Myers. And they have 5 wide receivers that I'd say they're pretty confident in right now, but then they're also very confident in Brock. They're very confident in Michael Mayer. And I do wonder if this team decides to keep 5 wide receivers, if Malot's not necessarily into the mix there, if they decide to keep 4 tight ends. Maybe they decide to keep Ian Thomas and Albert O. Maybe they decide to keep a Justin Shorter and kind of use him as a hybrid wide receiver tight end prospect. But in all honesty, no. I don't think that we should go out and get another receiver because receivers are also expensive. And if you told me, like, here's how I would say it. Would you rather go out and get, what would help this Raiders team more? A guy like Keenan Allen or a guy like Justin Simmons? Because I actually think Allen's probably going to cost you a little bit more. And, you know, Amari Cooper, he didn't retire. There was a fake Schefter account that said that he retired and got a bunch of people. But to me,
one of our own.
Yeah, one of our own. I just think what you would have to spend to go get a wide receiver, I would rather you use that money and allocate that to safety. And I think it's easily safety. It's unbelievable, dude. Shield, week 1, cannot wait for Brock, Mike, and Ian to work Spillane. Should be epic. Make Bobby's head spin. Congrats on not being a true Raider, Spillane. That's not fair to do that to Spillane. I think he resembled everything that you're hoping what a true Raiders player does.
Oh, shit.
He just ended up getting more money.
Raider Ron in the building.
Raider Ron in the building. Oh no.
That means we got to go to this.
Mark Prosser. Bang! Wave the flag, Mark. Wave the flag. Right. Rock it up, boys.
We only need 2 more, ladies and gents.
We only need a few more stops. And we're going to be going live 2 hours before because, luckily, we have 3 people now that just crossed 5,000 XP. Mark Prosser, Patrick Roche. Shout out to all of y'all. 93 Navman. Appreciate y'all pulling up to the scene. Appreciate it. So, let's go to the next step. We actually need a few more. We need 3 more to get there, right? Yeah, we need 3 more to get there. Next thing that we need 365 likes. If you don't know my name by now, Mitchell Renz 365. We got 600 people here in the building. 600 people here in the building.
God.
What? All right, I'll make you all a deal. Let's get to 365, and because Ron just did what he did, we'll make it happen. If we get to 365 likes, we're going live for 2 hours. Are you okay with that? Because when the GOAT shows up, the GOAT decides to show up. If y'all don't spam RR down below, then go somewhere else because Raider Run! Bang! Show some love to the GOAT, Raider Ron. Raider Ron. We got Booker to tap into another team position of strength. Eagles were stacked at defensive tackle. I agree with that statement, Ron. In true Tuna fashion, you should rank top 5 teams of positional strength. Offensive line, defensive line, offensive weapons, defensive backfield. Maybe we can tap into another team's position of strength. Not that I don't love the Tuna's top 5 positional strength. We do actually have a Tuna's top 5.
I was just about to do it after we finished with the Super Chats.
We do have a Tuna's top 5 coming up here, so shout out to the great Tuna. I'll say I can take a bigger look. I can take another deep dive into some of the teams that have maybe some extra players of, just some extra depth, right? Like, and I know a lot of people are looking at it as, the Raiders traded away Jakorian Bennett, but I bet the Raiders would say the exact same thing of we felt that we had, I'm not going to, depending on who I talk to, Jakorian was cornerback 4. Jakorian also, though, could have been cornerback 5. And, if knowing that Jakorian was our 5th outside corner or at best 4th outside corner, if you knew that, then you were probably going to try to get whatever you can. And I think the Raiders saw that situation and decided to pull the trigger to go out and get another player that they thought was going to be able to help them win more. And, Pete's a cornerback specialist, decided to move on from him. this team values the trenches. They decided to go out and get a guy in the trenches because I really think that they believe that Jakorian, I don't think you should look at it as who's a better player, Jakorian or Thomas Booker. That's how people are going to look at it. I get it. I think you should look at it as, is Thomas Booker going to help out this defensive tackle room more than what Jakorian Bennett would have helped out the cornerback room? Only time could tell. We don't know the answer to that. But I think the Raiders asked themselves that question, and they said, Booker's going to be able to help out this defensive line more than Jakorian's going to be able to help out our cornerback room. And that's ultimately why I think this deal ended up going down. Raider Ron, shout out to you, my man. Hopefully you've been doing well. You know it's all love every time you decide to pull up here. And I mean this, man. When Raider Ron pulls up to the Raiders Report, I hope you guys treat him like your grandfather. Not because you're old, Ron, though I know we're not getting any younger. But it's because people like Raider Ron, people like David Zahn, if it wasn't for them, I would not be as far with this channel as I possibly have been. So just the same way, like my dad used to always say, if grandma or grandpa ask you to do something, it's not why, it's yes. And you just say yes to it. And that's the type of respect I hold you to, Ron. That's the type of respect I hold you to, Zahn. I hope that you guys both know that I love you both very, very much. So when you guys show up, yeah, I do. I get excited. I get giddy about it. Let's go to Big Monkey. Let me get in that fantasy league. If I don't come in first, I'll do a few bangs. I'll say this, man. You got a shot to get in. You got a raffle ticket. And
I hope you win.
If you do end up getting it in, I think you got to keep the profile pic and the name. Am I even allowed to ask, is this you? Am I allowed to ask that question? I don't know. I mean, the amount, I'll be real, I didn't see what you were laughing about at first. I just saw the pecs. That's all I saw.
It must be 44 degrees in that car. It is chilly.
It's like, it almost is.
Those things are like darts.
I actually think I could hang on. You said darts. That's wild.
You could have multiple.
Are you ever going to be able to take a drink out of this again? You're never going to be able to take a drink out of this again.
That's what.
Does it taste milky?
Oh my God.
That's unbelievable.
This was before Mark sent in the other bang, but Navman, he didn't end up needing it. But that's the kind of guy Navman is.
That's the type of guy Navman is.
Navman's a real one.
Navman's always showing out love.
Nathan.
What up, Nate? I just sent the Venmo for the duck race, and it's my first time. Just win, baby. Hope y'all have a blast in Tucson. It's my hometown. Are we going to see you there or what? Are you going to pull up? I hope so.
Like the ceiling's missing?
Hopefully. I'll tell you this. If we get to Desert Shark Tucson and there's no ceiling there, I'm going to be like, this is kind of wild.
Bruce Bird, am I in that duck race as well?
Bruce, yes, you are definitely in the duck race, which you're number 14 that I got. I did just refresh my phone. The last name that I saw in there was Darian Schofield, and I already put in. Next name I see is Nathan Menges, gotcha. Scott Riddle, gotcha. Patrick B, gotcha. Savannah Jean, gotcha. Misty Williamson, you in. $20 Venmo as it stands right now. You would go home with $270 here on the Raiders Report. I
sent that picture to Chase as well.
Oh, really? I mean, I'll tell you this, when you run out of if you run out of clothesline hangers, you're good.
Oh, dude.
I'll tell you this. It's in the pic. I feel like I'm allowed to talk about it.
You can get multiple piercings in that thing.
If the nipples hang that low, can you only imagine how low his beard probably goes?
Patrick Roche!
Bang! From the top, Roche! What a legend, dude. My guy, the man, the myth, the legend, Patrick frickin' Roche, dude. I'll tell you this. Roche right now with that bang has tied up Cast Joey and Bayou Raider for the most bangs in the month of August. Wild stuff there, dude. Wild stuff. Also, I said this. We got 500 people here. I don't even remember what these next two steps are. Quite frankly, I don't really care. We're going to go live for 2 hours early when the Raiders play the Seattle Seahawks if we get to 365 likes. Ron made the deal. Patrick Roche pulled up for the deal. Y'all have been killing it today. If we get to 365 likes, we're going to be going live 2 hours instead of just one this upcoming Thursday. Let's go to Shipwreck Rick. Hey, Mitch, question. I know you said that Chip was playing with a wide receiver or tight end hybrid. Do you think they could work Besh in that role? Absolutely. And I know that Justin Shorter is a much different player than I think like the way that they would use a Jack Besh. But I think when you have a player like Jakobi Meyers, like Brock Bowers, like Jack Besh, these guys that are, a little bit bigger, a little bit more physical. Jakobi, you're probably not going to do it as much. Like Besh, I think, plays this hybrid role better than somebody like Jakobi just because Jacoby's a better receiver, and you probably wouldn't do that to him. But I do think for like the Raiders, why going out and getting Besh was so critical is because he does love to block, and he's somebody where you can throw out, the Raiders can run out 11 personnel, 3 wide, 1 tight end. And you could use Jack Besh as that hybrid player, and I think in a snap of a motion, you go from 11 personnel, you can go to 12 personnel. And yeah, you might not want Besh to be like that true prototypical tight end, but for one play to switch things up a little bit, I don't think it's a bad idea. And you can also do that with Michael Mayer, Brock Bowers. Like you can do it with a bunch of different players that we have on this roster. So I think Besh has a lot more versatility, and he's a lot better of a player than what people realize. And we would be talking about him a lot more if Dante Thornton Jr. wasn't having the breakout that he was having in training camp, because what that guy's doing, he's surprising a lot of people. He's the truth. Let's go to Jersey Boy. Sign Justin Simmons and extend Jakobi Meyers. I've been waiting around for the Jakobi extension. I did say earlier last week because Rappaport put out a report, and he was basically like, the Raiders extended Colton Miller. They're in conversations with Jakobi Meyers also about a contract extension. Typically, when a reporter puts that out, it's, usually it's going to end up happening. I also did say, though, that if you go back and watch that original video, I said that I don't know how well tapped in Rapp is because his initial reporting on Colton Miller I thought was really off, where he was like, he said something along the lines of like, the months-long saga is over. And anybody that's been following along the Raiders and Colton Miller situation, there hasn't been a saga, right? Like, there hasn't been anything going on. So I didn't know how well Rapp was connected, and I don't know if he was just saying that because in his mind it's obvious, just like in my mind it's obvious that they would give an extension to him. But the fact that Pete Carroll came out and said today that they're hoping to get Lonnie Johnson Jr. back by week 4, week 5, I think that makes the possibility of getting a player like Justin Simmons, a little bit less. And, though, even with Lonnie Johnson, I would still go out and get Justin Simmons if it was up to me. Wouldn't even be a discussion, quite frankly. Let's go to, damn right it's me, Nipsoft. Not going to lie, Mitch. I'll tell you this, man. I respect the confidence. I respect that you feel comfortable enough to be able to have a picture like this because – we're able to do the crazy shit that we're able to do on Thursday night, Monday, Tuesday, whatever the day it is. Because if you're not comfortable enough to hang out with your friends like this, then you're not comfortable. Then we're not friends. You know what I mean? I think you broke Chuggs. I really do. I think you broke him. It's basically this. I can't show you. In all honesty, this is what we're working with. It's what we're working with. Can I do a buy-in for the draft? I'm not doing a buy-in. We're not going to do it money-related. Now, once I get everybody into the league, if everybody in the league wants to do a buy-in, then sure. But Like, there's no way that anybody can pay right now to get into the league. If you want a chance to get in, it is $5 Super Chat is a raffle ticket. We'll do a raffle at the end of the month. Whoever that is, you'll get in. And whoever bangs the most in the month of August, you're also going to get in. But we got 3 preseason games. In those 3 preseason games, I'm also going to be giving you guys deals for y'all to have an opportunity to get in.
Can you read Anthony's comment?
Which one? Anthony Green?
Yeah.
Easy white chocolate. I wouldn't want you to melt. Holy shit, dude.
Holy shit.
Raider Ron says, am I in the draft? I'll say this, Ron. If you wanted to be in the Fantasy Football League, Ron did something earlier during the NFL draft, and I said, Ron, if you want to come to my wedding, you can pull up to the wedding. And Ron, unfortunately, had another thing planned. So I'll say this right now. Ron, if you want in the draft, you're the only person that I'd be willing to put in right now. But that's also because of everything you've done throughout the history of me doing this show and everything that you did during the NFL draft. And Ron broke the record for largest Venmo ever sent in on this channel. If somebody wants to beat Ron's record, then sure, I'll put you in right away. But Ron, if you want in, I got you, dude. Patrick B said, Ron can have my spot, Mitch. I mean, Pat, that's only if you don't want it. Like, if you want in, Pat, stay in the league. Again, you're Mount Raider more. But if Ron wants to get in, Ron's going to get in.
He says, I want in.
Ron says he wants in. So guess what? Raider Ron in the Fantasy Football League. Ron, I'll give out more details. So that means we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 spots open or 5 more spots open. I think we're going to do a 14-team league. I think 14-team league is going to be a little bit more challenging. It's also going to be, it's probably going to be 2 quarterback league. I'm just going to warn you. It's going to be fun. It's going to be fun. Nathan, Big Monkey has bigger nips than the guy from Scary Movie. Shout out. What's the, I guess I don't recognize the Scary Movie nipples. I'm going to have to look it up. Scary Movie nipples. Let's see what we get. Oh, I do remember this skit, actually. I do remember this skit. Though, I'm not going to lie to you. I don't think this is actually him. Bro, there's no way it's him. Come here real quick. You got to see this.
Oh, I know. It's probably online, right?
Yes. Because I literally type in Scary Movie nipples. Okay? The 12th picture is this guy. I don't think it's you. Now, I'll tell you this right now. I don't think it's you.
Aggressive masterator. Holy hanging milkers. Got a sudden urge for cookies.
Dude, I don't think it's him, man. Who is this person?
It's definitely not.
It's definitely not him, because now I'm seeing a lot of pictures about this one person. The ads I'm going to get on my phone, y'all. I'm going to have to burn it. I'm going to have to burn my phone. Holy shit. I love you guys. You guys always keep me on my toes, I'll tell you that.
All right.
You always keep me on my toes.
Coming up next, we're going to do the Tuna's Top 5 after this next segment.
All right.
Mitch is going to get into why the Raiders traded Jakorian Bennett for Thomas Booker.
Oh, man.
This is a cold open, by the way.
Sounds good.
Emphasis on cold.
Ron also has a question for you. I don't know what that would be, Ron, but that's up to Chuggs.
Oh my, Ron, for you, Ron, I'll say this. I give this deal to Mount Raidermore. Patrick B, he gets the same deal all the time. And obviously, you're Mount Raidermore legend. So the deal's always $200 Venmo for a boot. That's my rule with Patrick B. Raider Ron, you'll always have the same deal. If you ever come on my Texans channel, pause. If you ever come over during any of the live shows, any Mount Raidermore, the deal is always $200 Venmo for a Raiders boot.
Also, the trade is now officially official. The Las Vegas Raiders have acquired defensive tackle Thomas Booker IV from the Philadelphia Eagles in exchange for cornerback Jakorian Bennett. It literally just became officially official. So let's talk about the trade, and I'm going to break down why the Raiders decided to make the move. I'm also going to tell you why they decided to trade away Jakorian Bennett. That's all going to be coming up after this. That's all going to be coming up here on the show. And then after the segment, what we're going to end up doing is we're going to get into Tuna's top 5 of the day, which is going to be a little food related. So hopefully you're not too hungry. Today is National Oyster Day. That's all I'm going to say. National Oyster Day. Tuna's top 5 coming up after this entire segment here on the Raiders Report. The Las Vegas Raiders traded Jakorian Bennett to the Philadelphia Eagles in exchange for defensive tackle Thomas Booker. My name is Mitchell Renz. Y'all are watching the Raiders Report, and I want you to let me know down below, who do you think ended up winning this deal? If you think it's the Raiders, type LV. If you think it's the Philadelphia Eagles, I want you to type PHI, because coming up here on today's show, I am going to tell you why the Las Vegas Raiders traded for Thomas Booker and why they decided to move on from Jakorian Bennett. I sat back, I really thought about this deal for multiple hours before I went to bed, and I'm very confident when you get done watching this video, you're going to be happy that the Raiders went out and traded for Booker. Raider Nation, what's going on? It's Mitchell Renz here, host of the Raiders Report, and I want to jump right into why the Raiders decided to move on from Jakorian Bennett. He was somebody that was drafted in the 4th round out of Maryland by that old regime. Josh McDaniels, Dave Ziegler had to deal with a brand new regime last season. Quite frankly, I thought he was the best corner on this team last season. Now he's going over the 3rd year. Now he's got another brand new regime that he's got to learn, and this defense is a lot different this year compared to what the defense was last season. Let's go to the first reason, though, of why the Raiders decided to move on from him. He was cornerback 4 at best. He was behind Eric Stokes, Jakorian Richardson, Darian Porter. He was behind all of these players. And depending on who you talk to, he might have also been behind J.T. Woods, a Raiders safety / cornerback hybrid that the team decided to sign just in the past few weeks. So knowing that Bennett was going to be at best cornerback 4, that's one of the very first reasons. Let's go to the next reason of why the deal ended up happening. He doesn't fit Pete's mold of what he's looking for in a corner. Pete Carroll wants long, lanky, athletic guys. Is Jakorian athletic? Yes, no doubt about it. But from a height standpoint, from a wingspan standpoint, from an arm length standpoint, he doesn't quite fit. So here are the Raiders' top 4 corners, and then obviously Bennett. First, the number you see is height. Eric Stokes, Darian Porter, Jakorian Richardson, J.T. Woods, all over 6'1". Jakorian, 5'11". Then you look at the arm length. Stokes, Porter, Richardson, Woods have all over 32-inch arms, which might not sound like a big of a difference, but when you're somebody that's really trying to take up as much field as humanly possible, and you think that your system, your scheme, is predicated on having these guys that are longer, lankier, because it's what you coach up, you might just need that type of player. And also, maybe Jakorian just wasn't fitting in this defense the way that he did last season because it is so different. Let's go to the next reason here of why the Raiders decided to move on. Injury concerns. This team wants to play a physical brand of football, and also the best ability is availability. And everybody up here knows that Bennett is a talented player, but he did miss 10 games last season with a torn labrum. And that labrum bothered him where that shoulder would pop out a bunch, and I talked about it on Monday night when I was kind of discussing about the Raiders trade. I know a few people that have played sports that have had the amount of shoulder injuries that they've had. Their shoulder pops out all the time, which is really difficult for running. It's really difficult for PBUs. It's really difficult for a corner that has had the amount of shoulder issues that he's had. And, he's had shoulder issues dating back all the way back to college. With torn labrums, shoulder injuries in corners, they can continue to pop up. And I wonder if the Raiders thought Thomas Booker's got a better shot at helping us out this season and staying healthy than Jakorian Bennett does. And then the final reason is Bennett's not physical enough, I think, with the injury history that he has, with the size that he has, to go out and play the style of defense that the Raiders are going to run. Patrick Graham and Pete Carroll typically run very different defenses. And what you're seeing right now and early in this offseason and training camp is kind of a blend of PG's system and Pete Carroll's system. And they're blending them all up. I also wonder if the Raiders really thought so confident in their outside guys, and I almost wonder if they were trying to put Jakorian in on the inside. And because Jakorian's probably not physical enough to be able to play on the inside, and guys like Greedy Vance are, that also could have been a contributing factor to why the Raiders decided to move on from Jakorian Bennett and send him to Philadelphia. Now, here's one thing I always got promised for. I have commitment to excellence. If y'all have commitment to excellence, hit that subscribe button, turn on those notifications. I'll give you an example. If you pulled up to last night's live Monday night show and you were partying with us for the whole hour, 70 minutes, 80 minutes, however long it was, when you saw that breaking news happen, if you're like, I want to go talk to the nation about it, to me, that's commitment to excellence as an audience member here on the Raiders Report. Other people that decided to show up last night and make the show a lot of fun. I got to give a shout out to Bayou, Cass Joey, Jonathan Martinez, our top 3 XP getters during that live show. XP is a brand new feature on YouTube, and I plan on using it a lot this upcoming season. And I plan on showing love to the people that show love to me as often as humanly possible. So if you got commitment to excellence, hit that subscribe button, because it doesn't matter when breaking news happens. I'm going to keep you up to date, even if I'm sitting on the couch with my wife and my dog at 8:30 at night. Raiders breaking news happen. I'm allowed to get to the studio. Hell, my wife even drove me here. Why? She understands how much I love y'all, and she understands that I want to be able to talk to you when breaking news happens. Coming up next here on the show, this is why the Raiders traded for Thomas Booker IV. And you're going to see all the reasons why I have outlined, and I really do honestly think you're going to get why the Raiders decided to dot some I's, why they decided to cross some T's. Speaking of T's, T-shirt, jersey, I don't know if it's a segue. If you need a brand new Raiders jersey, they are on sale, and they're not going to be on sale forever. Go to chatsports.com/Raiders jerseys. And the cool part about that link, which, you know what? I'll go there right now. Chatsports.com/Raiders jerseys. If you want to go to the same spot I am, we can look together. I'm looking right now at some of these jersey deals. If you need a custom jersey, you can actually save about $35 on a custom jersey, which I'm looking at right now. If you need, wow, they have a Max Crosby jersey on here for $99, under $100. That's insane. They have a Max Crosby white jersey, the really sick color rush ones. Oh, man, that's not even a youth. It's a normal jersey. $80. That's unbelievable. That might be the best deal on here. I see a Brock Bowers jersey for $80. I see there's another youth jersey. Dude, I'll tell you what, man. There is some insane Tim Brown jersey on sale for $26. Howie Long for $26. Jim Plunkett for $26. $26 off. Yeah, sorry. $26 off. Chug's like, only $26? If you do want a Hunter Renfrow jersey, you can get one for less than $60. Geno Smith jersey, $26 off. Jackson Powers Johnson, $26 off. Fred Belindikoff, $26 off. Cliff Branch, dude, I'll tell you this right now. I've been doing this show for a long time. Art Shell, Al Alzado, Marcus Allen, Jim Otto. Raider Ron, I know you're a big Jim Otto fan. The amount of jerseys that they have on sale right now, it is more A.J. Cole, Colton Miller, Richard Seymour. I'm just listing names here. Willie Brown. They also have dad jerseys. Ken Stabler, Jim Plunkett. I think you can already understand the amount of Raider jerseys that are on sale at chatsports.com/Raiders jerseys. It's going to blow your mind. If you need a jersey and you want one and you've been waiting, I hope that you realize that now is the perfect time to go get yourself a jersey. This link is going to be available down in the comments and down in the description of today's show, probably like in the second or third paragraph. Go check it out. Get yourself a Raiders jersey before the season starts. All right, let's get to the next part here of this show of why the Raiders decided to go out and trade for Booker. The first reason, I think that this is another Christian Wilkins replacement. And I think the Raiders have shown you that we're not going to be able to replace Wilkins body for body. But if we can replace Wilkins with maybe somebody like a Keandre Coburn, who's 6'3", 330 pounds, and then you also add somebody like Thomas Booker, who is a little bit smaller, but still a very explosive athlete at that defensive tackle position, I almost wonder if they're like, well, 2 throws at the dartboard is better than 1. And for a team that's not trying to go out and overspend, I think by going out and finding another Wilkins replacement, they are confident in the overall defensive tackle depth that they are building. Let's go to the next reason here. This was the one that really was kind of the light bulb went off in my head. Leki Fotu showed up to practice on Tuesday, August 5th in a walking boot. And when I hear walking boot, you're crazy to not think instantly of, obviously, Wilkins. But Fotu was somebody that the Raiders were using to fill in for Wilkins when he was first, not able to go out there and able to practice. So the fact that the Raiders, I think, personally view that Fotu, Butler, Lalu, and Wilkins were their top 4 defensive tackles, and now they might be without 2 of those guys, I think the Raiders said, Jakorian Bennett's a good player, but Thomas Booker is going to be able to help us out more at defensive tackle and be able to help out our defense more than what Jakorian Bennett would have been able to help out our defense overall. Let's go to the next reason of why you end up doing this deal. You got to believe in Rob Leonard. Rob Leonard is the Raiders defensive line coach. He is one of the most respected defensive minds in the NFL. And for a player like Booker, who there's some upside here, and you want players with upside to be paired with great coaches, to be paired with a Leonard, to be paired with a Patrick Graham. This is what Lance Zierlein had to say on Booker when he was first coming out of the NFL draft. Defensive tackle with pretty good flashes, but a lack of consistency that can be frustrating to watch. That sounds like a player that would be great with Rob Leonard. Booker has a thick frame, pretty good upper body power, but is unable to plant a post leg and hold his ground against edge pressure or double teams. That sounds like a technique. That's great for Rob Leonard. He's a decent athlete with some rush potential and could be a rotational player for a team employing multiple fronts. The Raiders are going to be a team that employ multiple fronts, and they're going to be a team that uses 5-2. They're going to be a team that uses 4-3. And Booker's job is going to be able to go out there and just help everybody else around him. I also went back and I started to watch a little bit more film last night. I tried to, reach out to some people that cover the Philadelphia Eagles, and I'm not saying that the comparison to Adam Butler was made, but when I heard people talk about Booker of having a very quick first step, being a player that can get underneath tackles, that can, really surprise people, it reminded me a lot of what I heard about somebody like Adam Butler. And that's what I'm hoping Thomas Booker turns into, a player just like Adam Butler. Coming up here, though, again, the Raiders' connection to Thomas Booker, because when a deal like this goes down, the first thing that I always think of is, all right, well, what exactly is the coaching connection? What exactly is the connection to the Raiders? And yesterday when I first broke it down, I mentioned one connection. There's actually 2. And I'll tell you what those 2 connections are here in a moment. But if anybody's trying to hang out with me on August 22nd, it's a Friday, the day right before the Raiders' final preseason game up against the Arizona Cardinals, I'm going to be out in Tucson, Arizona. I'm going to be at Desert Shark Tucson. If you need some poke, if you need a bento box, I am going to crush some food. And if you want to have some drinks, you want to have some food, you want to talk a little bit of Raiders with me, you better show up. I'm going to be there from noon to 3 guaranteed. But the more people that show up, the longer I'm going to stay there. So if you know Raiders fans in Tucson, Arizona, tell them to show up and show out. If we get over 100 people there, I'll be there all day. I don't give a shit. I'll hang out. I'm not afraid to hang out and have a good time. The address right here, the destination, Desert Shark Tucson. The owner, you maybe have heard of him, Fabian Moreno, a.k.a. the Night Devil. I want y'all to go support him, and I also want to be able to go out and meet a bunch of people. So if you could, put this in your calendar, set a reminder. Let's go have some food. Let's go support one of our own, and let's be able to chat about the Raiders together. I'm pretty down. Can't wait. Let's go to the next reason here. The Philadelphia connection. And the Philadelphia connection is why I think ultimately this deal ended up going down. And you got to look at the front office, because the Raiders did 2 things this offseason that I talked about, and I said, really smart move by the Raiders, both of them, both front office connections. The first one is the Raiders went out and they hired a guy by the name of Anthony Patch. Anthony Patch was considered the right-hand man to Howie Roseman. He's now the Raiders' senior personnel executive, and he comes from Philadelphia. Also, the Raiders ended up hiring, who right now is our VP of player personnel, Brandon Hunt, who also comes from Philadelphia. I think because both of those guys were tied to that Philadelphia Eagles organization and were very prominent figures in terms of senior director of draft personnel, senior director of college scouting, and like that's what those two guys did. That's probably somebody that said, you know what? There's a lot of value that's been untapped with Thomas Booker. Not because he's not a good player, but because they've had so much defensive line, so much defensive tackle depth on that roster that he hasn't really been able to get his chance to shine. And I think now he's going to get his opportunity to go out there and he's going to be able to shine. Let's go to the final reason here. And again, it's what the Raiders are trying to build for the long haul. He was a team captain at Stanford, not with the Philadelphia Eagles, but a team captain at Stanford. 3-year starter and a captain. The Las Vegas Raiders this past year, out of the 11 players that they ended up drafting, 9 of those 11 were team captains. You heard Pete Carroll talk about commitment to excellence. If the Raiders want to be able to build this thing the right way, they want guys that love football. They want leaders on and off the field. And that's what I want. It's probably what y'all want as well. So the fact that he's got all these ties, the fact that he's going to be able to help replace Wilkins, the fact that he was a team captain, a stand-up human being, all of those reasons there are why the Raiders decided to move off from Jakorian Bennett and go out and get Thomas Booker. And I want Raider fans to look at it like this. If you believe in Pete Carroll and you believe in this regime, I want you to believe in this trade. But I also want you to look at it instead of going Jakorian Bennett, Thomas Booker straight up. Do I think Jakorian has more value player to player? Yes, I do. But do I think Jakorian Bennett on this cornerback room is more valuable than Thomas Booker on this defensive tackle room? I do not. And it's because of the way that these players are going to be used, and it's because this team values the trenches, and I think that they know they need extra help in the trenches. If you're losing in the trenches, you're going to lose in the secondary, and the Raiders prioritize a player in the trenches over a player in the secondary. For that reason, that is why the Raiders decided to make this trade. After listening to that, after watching that, I hope you at least feel a little bit better. And again, only time's going to tell. And I hope that Jakorian stays healthy. I hope that he does what he's going to be able to do. But at the exact same time, I just want Thomas Booker to be the player that we traded for, and I hope that he's the best player that we possibly could get, because that's going to make us a lot better. What up, Patrick? The legend Raider Ron can have my spot, Mitch. I'm not going to be into it, and Ron win the whole effing thing. All right, man. That means we're going to put Raider Ron in Patrick B's spot, which now means we still have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 spots open. Definitely 6, potentially 8. And if you plan on watching our first preseason game, our second preseason game, and our third preseason game, you're going to have opportunities during those shows to get in our fantasy football raffle. Oh my goodness. Raider! Run! Bang! I'm not worthy. Chuggs, my man. Mitch, stop sipping. Let's do this. If any of the OGs in the chat crew want to visit Napa Valley again, let me know. It's not that I don't want to, Ron. It's, with football season coming up, it's going to be a little bit difficult for me. And typically when I go visit, people, I do it in the off season. Now, next off season, I'll be able to do a lot more, but the wedding, the honeymoon, I don't have to explain it. I'm sure you guys understand, and it's why I appreciate you guys as much as I do. But Ron, that trip, man, was a legendary trip. It's actually kind of hard to believe that that's probably, it's got to be 3-4 years ago at this point, Ron, that I was out there. We'll get together again, dude. I promise. Honestly, I want to be able to figure out a way to get a bunch of people to Las Vegas, because I owe Justin Abgen a trip. I owe Wild 114 a trip still from back many, many years ago. And I'd like to be able to do something where it's like, hey, all of us meet up at one spot. I get flights for Abgen. I get a flight for, Wild One, and we all meet up at like one destination and just have a good time for the day. But maybe it's a game this year. I don't know. We'll do our best to be able to figure it out. Rebel said meet at Tucson. I think meeting at Tucson would be cool, but it's also such short notice for those two guys. And if they could do it, awesome. But it's also, I want to be able to give Fabian all the attention as well, Rebel. But it's a good idea.
I'm guessing that was Ron's way of getting me to do the boot.
Yep.
Usually it's Venmo, but it's Raider Ron, so obviously we'll bend the rules a little.
Bending the rules a little bit for Raider Ron. And, sometimes you got to do's.
We only need 11 more likes to go live earlier on
Only
Thursday.
11 more likes. I believe in y'all. Joseph, you're in the duck race. Joseph Jenkins, 20 to win, $280 as it stands right now. And also, with that bang, if my math is mathing correctly, Raider Ron is our new bang MVP for this month.
I'll be right back with the boot.
Uh-huh.
Until then, this is going to be kind of what our Tuna's Top 5 is about today.
Kind of. We always try to mix and match. Again, shout out to the great Brandon Jasper, one of the GOATs here on the Raiders Report. Unfortunately, passed away earlier this year. Yeah, passed away earlier this year. Ron said, I can make Vegas. It'll be a nice drive in the vet. Can you pick me up? I'll drive around. We'll rip around a little bit in the vet. Not too crazy, though. Not too crazy. I'd probably have to sit in the back, Ron. I'm not going to lie. I'm probably a horrible – I don't like to drive, and I'm not but I'm a cautious driver, as what probably my wife would say. Here's the question, though. Do you like oysters? Today is, I believe, National Oyster Day. Give me a yes. Give me a no. After Chuggs gets back and he does his boot, he's going to answer his Tuna's Top 5. And I don't remember exactly what his Tuna's Top 5 is, but it does. I think it's seafood dishes. I think it's seafood dishes for his Tuna's Top 5. Seth Milbourne says, I love oysters. I'll say this. I like oysters. But I do think they're a little bit too pricey for me. I need hot sauce. Oysters Rockefeller, absolutely. But just a raw oyster straight out of the shell, don't love it.
I like cooked oysters.
It's got, oysters Rockefeller, I'm all about it. I don't think I appreciate oysters as much as I should. I'll say it like that. And now, time for a boot. Miggy Camacho said, can I get in? Miggy Camacho. Miggy. I know I spelled that wrong. Wow, that might be my worst one of all time. Miggy, can't you see?
This one goes to Ron. Ron, you're the dude.
Spam Raider Ron down below. We're going to give away a free raffle entry into our fantasy football league. This one goes out to the man, the myth, the legend, Raider Ron. Let's get it going. The Chuggs boot. This boot, man, has done some miles on it. It's done some miles on it. And this man right here has done some serious miles himself. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. I've seen 1,000 of them. Actually, that's probably not. I don't know how many boots you've done in your time. You're definitely up there. You've been here how many years now? 4? 4 years. I'm saying your first year here, you definitely did a lot of boots. The first year is probably the most boots ever consumed by a person. You have more boots in your stomach than Boot Barn. All right, so let's say 300 boots your first year, and then let's say 100 boots every year after that, just for math's sake. You're probably around 600, 700 boots. It's a lot of boots. Sounds like we got to get back to year one.
Year one.
Year one's degenerate level.
Ugh.
I wouldn't even do that to you. I mean, there was one show I remember
we have
did.
newbies now.
Yeah, that's true. There was one show I can remember. Jeremy and I combined, we did like 10 boots.
Yes.
Combined one day. It was a mess in more ways than one.
I think we both threw up.
There's not a doubt in my mind. I know I did. I don't know if you did.
Raider on.
I can make it to Vegas. It'll be a nice drive in the vet. We will have to figure out. What we're doing for that day.
Also, we are officially going live 2 hours before kickoff.
Official. We are going to be going live 2 hours before.
Joe Jenkins, are you worried about our run defense at all?
I'm not going to lie to you, Joe. I am extremely worried about the Raiders' run defense. I'm worried about the Raiders' defense in general. Like, I know that this team values their ability to stop the run, but I also know that if you have a weak defensive line, that it's going to be tough for you to stop the run. Like, Max is a dog. Malcolm's not the best stopping the run. Tyree's a good run defender. But if you're not winning at the defensive tackle position, and if you're not winning in the trenches, it's going to make your linebackers worse. It's going to make a lot of these other players worse. I think run defense is our strong suit. It's a lot better than our pass protection, but I'm worried about our run game. It's because I think teams that have great defensive tackles are teams that are really good at stopping the run. And I don't think the Raiders have a good defensive tackle group. I would say we're a little bit below average right now at the DT spot. You know where we are, though, really strong? People that watch this show. Patrick Roche! Bang! From the top Roche, Mr. Patrick Roche. And he's showing love to Mount Raider Moore's Raider Ron. Chuggs, I think what we do now is we get into your Tuna's top 5. While you're doing that, I am going to push out the video that was the highlight cut earlier.
Yes, of course. So it is National Oysters Day, but I thought it might be more fun for me to break down my top 5 seafood dishes. So today's Tuna's top 5 are my top 5 favorite seafood dishes. Coming in at number 5, seafood gumbo. I was between gumbo and po' boy. I didn't want to have two of the Cajun creations in my top 5. I settled on gumbo just because just a really good gumbo I feel like is special. When you find a really good gumbo, have a little rice in there, maybe cornbread. If you're really, really from the deep south, add some potato salad into that piece maybe. Really good seafood gumbo absolutely hits for me.
Okay.
Number 4, and I also want to add, I didn't want to add something, like I wanted to do an actual dish. I didn't want to do something as simple as like just grilled shrimp because, I mean, that's pretty like vague, basic. So number 4, seafood fettuccine. Love some seafood fettuccine. Absolutely delicious. It can be shrimp.
Okay.
It could be crab. It could be maybe even, some
clams.
Some clams in there. Love, like a clam, like garlic pasta as well. Absolutely delicious. But seafood fettuccine, delicious. I absolutely love it. Next up, shrimp fried rice. Shrimp fried rice. And you know what? I'm actually making an audible right here because I just realized I left one of it out. It's going to be shrimp or crab fried rice. I don't know if you've had crab fried rice before, Mitch. It's insanely good. I love a good shrimp or crab fried rice. That's my number 3 seafood dish on my list. Number 2, this might be a sneaky one. Salmon/shrimp teriyaki. That's one of my favorite things that she makes at home is she makes this like salmon teriyaki with rice, and we usually do it with like broccoli or something. I could eat salmon teriyaki or shrimp teriyaki like once a week easily. It's so
I'm not a big salmon guy, and again,
love salmon.
It's I like it, but to me, it's probably one of the last seafoods I'm getting.
Number 1, and it's not even close for me. Shrimp/fish tacos.
Okay.
A good shrimp or fish taco, does it. That's one of my favorite like lunch options. A couple of fish or shrimp tacos always hits. That's my 1-1 when it comes to seafood dishes, in my opinion. Love it, hate it. Let me know. What did I leave off my list? Because I'm pretty sure I left something off the list. Also, Wolverine, you're 100% right. It is Taco Tuesday. That's why I had to have that as my number 1. But let me know down in the comment section. Did I miss any seafood dishes? I was thinking maybe some shrimp etouffee. Moose, do you like seafood?
He definitely likes Wendy's.
Seafood? No? Oh, wow. Never mind.
You said you don't like seafood? Dude, I love seafood. If you had to pick between chicken or shrimp, you can only eat one for the rest of your life. What would you pick?
Oh, I might have to go chicken, but I love shrimp.
All right.
Somebody said you left off paella. I've had paella, but I've actually only had it like a handful of times. So not enough to where it's like I would put it in my top 5. A paella is good, though.
Top 5. I mean, shrimp tacos in general.
Oh, king crab legs is up there. Sushi. Oh, wow. I messed up. Yeah, sushi needs to be in the top 5 somewhere.
I love, like, king crab legs for me.
I love sushi. Yeah, I didn't even think of sushi.
Is that a seafood dish, though? I think it's like sushi, I think, is like its own category. Maybe. Like, if I told you I'm making a seafood dish tonight, and I put sushi on, I wouldn't be mad about it.
That tracks.
I wouldn't be mad. I would say
macaroni
and cheese is more of a pasta.
A good Cajun red snapper is good. Actually, fun fact, Joe Jenkins said calamari. Every time me and Danny go to a nice steakhouse, the one appetizer we always get is the calamari.
Gotta get calamari. I always get calamari.
You know what? Another one I left off, crab cakes. I love crab cakes.
I'm not gonna lie, crab cakes would be number 1 on my list. Now, I don't have a problem with this list at all, but we were also talking about scallops. Like the scallops we had at Joel's.
Oh,
that's top 5. Like that seafood whatever thing he gave us.
Rick Kelly said not a single lobster dish. Low key, instead of seafood fettuccine, I was thinking lobster ravioli. That was in contention as well.
See, I like snow crab and like king crab more than I like lobster. And because of the price you pay for lobster, it's a little bit more pricey for me.
Yeah. Somebody said ceviche. I do like a good ceviche.
I think the number 1 thing Alex and I ate on our honeymoon, ceviche. We had a ceviche every day.
Another good one. Somebody says bacon wrapped scallops, but also bacon wrapped shrimp.
What's the place that does Mambo taxis?
That is Mi Cocina.
It's like a bacon
it's like
wrap.
Shrimp. I think it's called shrimp bruschetta or something like.
But they also have like a taco like that. It's unbelievable.
And you can get seafood with Mitch later on in the month at our friend Fabian Moreno's spot, Desert Shark Tucson. Go check it out. Nice little segue to talk about the Raiders Report meetup at the end of this month, August 22nd, Friday, 12 noon to 3 p.m. Desert Shark Tucson, the address right there on screen. If you want to meet Mitch, that's the time and place to do it.
I almost said, like, I had to, like, think of, like, what's, like, the time zone? I'm like, well, if we're over there, we're just going to go with that time zone. So this is Pacific time because we're in Arizona. I've actually never been in Arizona before. Have you ever been there?
No, I've not.
This is the first time I've ever been to Arizona. Actually, the first time I ever went out to the West Coast was in 2019.
A crispy fish sandwich is really good, too.
Before I moved to Dallas, the furthest out west I've ever been was Dallas. Like, I never ventured out west. Now I've been able to go out there a few times.
Seeing all the people in the comment section, I really feel like I messed up with my top 5, and I might need to redo it one day.
I'll say this. You gotta, like...
Especially if sushi's in there. Sushi has to be in my top 5. I love sushi.
I just don't think... When I think of seafood dishes, I don't think of sushi. Like, that's like saying macaroni is a pasta. I think sushi is its own thing.
Miggy, hot take. Seafood boils, good. I like shrimp over crawfish. Like, if we're going to crawfish, I think is okay.
Yeah.
I'd much rather go to, like, a seafood boil if it has, like, crab or shrimp or something else in it.
I think it's also like the work you put in. Crawfish are good, no doubt about it. But you also got to like know what you're doing. It's kind of like if you've ever had like Maryland blue crab. I like Maryland blue crab. It's okay, but you got to like rip the shell. You got to rip the skirt or whatever the hell it's called, something like that. And if you're like, don't get grossed out, you can eat it that way. For me, I don't want to look at the head. I just want to crack the legs.
I've had a handful of lobster rolls.
Okay.
I also love a good lobster roll. Very, very good.
Hot or cold?
I go hot.
Same.
I go
hot with just a shit ton of butter.
Yeah, and then I smother it in the Old Bay seasoning.
Yeah. See, now you're getting me going.
Yeah. Oh, crab curry.
Dude, crab curry. I just saw that. That sounds
unbelievable.
Never had that. Crab curry. Like get like imagine a really good curry with a little bit of Old Bay, some crab. You're on to something. You're on to something. You know what?
You know what I don't like, and I'm adventurous. I try everything.
Yeah.
I don't like grilled octopus. I've tried it like 5 times. Every time I'm like, I don't like this.
It's funny because I feel the same way. Alex loves it. Like if we go out to eat, one of Alex's favorite things that she gets is octopus, and typically, like if we split like an appetizer or something like that, it's like we want to be able to share it. Octopus is the one thing where I'm like, I don't like it as much as she does. And I'll try it.
I hate the
texture is weird.
It's like chewing a rubber band.
It's like chewing that guy's nipple is how I feel. It's just it's in your mouth. It's weird. It's just strange to me. Like one of our very first dinners we had on our honeymoon, I ended up getting like pizza with shrimp. Alex was like, I want to get the octopus, and it was okay. She loved it. But for her to be like, this is amazing, and I'm still like, it's all right. I'm just not an octopus guy. It's not even the tentacles. It's the texture.
Rick Kelly said Italians are the only ones that do octopus right. Would that be calamari?
I don't know.
I don't know. Calamari's squid, though.
Yeah. Maybe it's just the way that they make it. I'm not sure. All right, one more segment coming up here on the Raiders Report today.
Just a couple more supers to roll through, and then we'll get into this last segment.
Cool. What up, Miggy? Cheers, Mitch Chuggs in the chat. Let's go pick up Justin Simmons. Miggy, I'm totally on board with that, dude. I just think now with the news that came out that, Pete Carroll expects Lonnie Johnson Jr. back by week 4 or 5. That's what Pete said today at his press conference. I know it was kind of looked at that, he's going to be done for the year, but it sounds like they expect him back, again, by week 4 or 5. I mean, it's shocking to me, and I'm sure if you're just now tuning in, you're just hearing it for the first time. But that's what Pete said, that they're hoping to get him back week 4 or 5. I would say I expect him back by the absolute latest then, by week 9. And I only bring that up because the Raiders have that week 8 bye. So maybe if they're like, I don't want to rush him back too soon, you play the Chiefs week 7. Like, that would be the day that I would try to bring him back. But we will see. We will see. Let's go to.
We got a couple.
A few more here on the show. Again, appreciate each and every one of y'all for pulling up today to the stream. We got almost 400 people in the building. If you haven't already, make sure you guys click that like button. Believe it or not, it does help us out quite a bit. We are going to roll through some super chats. I got one more segment that I got to get to here on today's program, and then we'll do the duck race. We'll get on out of here, and the next time you're going to see me 2 hours early for Raiders Seahawks. Crab boil. Crab boil's amazing. Get some crab, throw some, you got to throw some corn, I like shrimp with mine, some sausage, some potatoes.
Ron,
throw some onions, some peppers in there.
Here's
get a
the
little
Raiders
bit wild with it.
Meet up again. He asked if we could throw the date back up on screen for him.
Yeah, Ron, I'll tell you this, man. Just if you pull up, let me know. We'll figure out everything. But Desert Shark Tucson, that's the address. I'll be there from 12 to 3. I technically I have nothing else planned for the day again. So like I told Fabian, the owner of Desert Shark, and the reason why I'm going out there, I also want to be able to meet up with like the Raiders group that's out there. So if we get a lot of people, like it doesn't have to just be for 3 hours. Ron, if you make the drive, as far as I'm concerned, we can hang out all day. I'm literally just going to be going to like other places, trying out some other food spots, other drink spots. Fabian and I are going to hang out. It's going to be a pretty lax and chill day. But Ron, if you show up, We can hang out all day, dude. I'm down to get down. What up, Ed? Mitch, if you are here Friday night, I know an amazing seafood buffet in Tucson. I will say this. I'm not going to do a buffet, and it's only because I have to – if I go to a buffet, I'm going to want to eat a lot of food. And I told Fabian that whatever he wants to do, we would kind of end up doing it. But if you pull up, same thing. Like, I want to be able to get some drinks. I want to be able to get some food. I would imagine there's probably a preseason game on that Friday night. I want to go to like a sports bar. I kind of just want to hang out, talk a little bit of shop. I just know how I am. And if I drink all day with Raider Nation and then I go to a seafood buffet, your boy's going to be sick. And I don't want to do that because I can eat a lot, and I can't go to a buffet and not try to stuff my face. I can't do it. But I do really appreciate you throwing that out there to me. Conscience, stuffed jalapeno with crab meat and bacon. Yes. I'll take 10.
Love it.
I'll take 10 of them.
No notes.
Darian, I meant Chuggs. All love. Did he send you something earlier?
No, it
Chubbs.
just actually said Chubbs.
Oh, he might have just watched Happy Gilmore. I don't know. It's my guy Chubbs over there. All right, we have all caught up now on all of the Super Chats, which means we have one more segment to do here on today's show, and then a duck race, and then we are all good. We're going to get on out of here. Here's what's really cool. We get to talk about a Raiders game. And I've done a lot of segments this offseason. Haven't done a single one about a Raiders game. And quite frankly, this is the time of the year where it's really exciting because we do get back to football. And we get back to being able to hang out all as a group. And when 100,000 people get together, there's going to be 100,000 people here this Thursday. And that's going to be really cool. Let me get a sip here, and then we'll get into the final segment on today's live show. All right. You ready? Y'all ready? Let's talk about the Raiders' first preseason game coming up against the Seattle Seahawks. Raiders up against the Seattle Seahawks. Coming up here on today's show, I'm going to give you a quick little preview of what the silver and black are going to be looking like going into this matchup. I'm going to tell you some of the top players to watch on offense and on defense. I'm going to be breaking down which position battles to keep a close eye on. The way that today's show is going to go is I'm going to go from position by position, tell you which players I'm going to be looking at, which stories to follow along. But here's the thing. If you don't already know, I'm going to be live. Raiders up against the Seattle Seahawks 2 hours before kickoff, 8 p.m. Eastern Time, 5 p.m. Pacific, live here on the Raiders Report. And we're going to be giving away an Ashton Jeanty jersey. The only thing that you got to do if you want to win, you got to be here and you got to be subscribed. If you're not watching the show, if you're not subscribed, you will not win. But if you're watching the show and you're subbed, you're going to have a chance to go home with an Ashton Jeanty jersey. Let's first go here to what exactly I think y'all should be looking for. And again, I'm going to go position by position. The first thing I'm looking at the quarterback spot is Geno Smith going to play against his old team? Pete Carroll spoke to the media on Tuesday and essentially said that everybody's going to be ready to go. Now, again, I am recording this on Tuesday, so please keep that in mind. But it kind of sounded like to me the starters could play. It also sounded like maybe they won't play. I don't exactly know. What I do know is Aiden O'Connell is the quarterback too, and I do anticipate that he's probably going to play majority of the first half. If I had to guess, maybe Geno gets, I don't know, 1 drive, maybe 2 drives. Pete typically doesn't play his quarterbacks all that often, typically doesn't play his starters. But because this is a brand new regime, a brand new offense, if it was up to me, I'm going to put my guys out there. I do anticipate Cam Miller is going to play majority of the second half, and I think that that's what you're going to see for the Las Vegas Raiders a lot this preseason. Aiden in the first, Cam Miller in the second. I think that's how this thing's going to go. Let's go to the running back position next up here, and obviously all eyes are going to be on Ashton Jeanty. Will he get work in the kick return game? He's listed as right now the number 2 kick return punt returner for the Raiders. Punt returner he's listed as. Also, I feel like I got to sneeze. Nope, just made it. So does Jeanty get any carries? Does he get work out of the backfield? The Raiders listed Raheem Mostert, Chris Collier, Zamir White as the running back too. That's a must-watch running back battle because McCormick and Laube, they were listed at RB3. And if the Silver and Black decide to keep 5 running backs, if they decide to keep 4 running backs, I do really think it's going to come down to Mostert, Collier, Zamir White. I was hoping that Sincere was going to be able to get a shot, but he's going to have to go out there and have himself a solid game. he's going to be competing. The running back position is going to be one that Chip Kelly uses a lot, and I think the way that they use those backs might illustrate how this team might try to go out and use Genty during the regular season. Let's go to the wide receiver room next here, and out of all the position groups on offense, this might be the one to pay the closest attention to. Jacoby Tucker and Dante Thornton Jr., I would imagine, are going to be your top 3 wide receivers. Do they first get run? Alex Bachman, Philip Dorsett are fighting for a roster spot right now, and on Tuesday's practice, them, including Colin Johnson, were getting some work with the ones. But for the rookies, Jack Besh and Tommy Mellott. Jack Besh, I would say right now, is wide receiver 4 on this team. Tommy Mellott's probably like wide receiver 7, wide receiver 8. And I just want to see him get out there on the field. I want to see what he looks like because I know how talented he is. But if he's falling behind, as far as what I've heard he's falling behind, I do wonder if he is, on that roster bubble. The wide receiver room, though, got to be looking at it very closely in this preseason game. Here's going to be the pinned comment, though, on today's program. Which Raiders player are you most excited to watch up against the Seattle Seahawks? While this YouTube ad is playing, I want you to scroll on down, and I want you to answer this question. If you could let the ad play for the full 30 seconds, 45, I'd greatly appreciate it. My answer is going to be coming up here in just a moment. I will admit, these were not supposed to be ranked, so that's on me for not communicating that to Chuggs, but the top 5 players that I think in top 5 things that you need to be looking for in this game. Geno Smith at quarterback. Obviously going to be something I'm looking at. All of the rookies, what exactly do they look like? The Raiders just traded for Thomas Booker. How does he end up playing? Jamal Adams has been getting a lot of work at linebacker. And then Jackson Powers-Johnson. He needs to play well because I was a little bit disappointed in his Raiders mock performance. He needs to step up. He needs to be able to prove to Pete that he deserves to be that starting right guard for this team. Let's go to the tight end room. All eyes are going to be on Brock Bowers. Quite frankly, I don't know if I need to see Bowers play. There's a few players that, I'll be real, I don't really think I need to see him play. Bowers probably is one of those, but I don't know if he's going to go out there or not. How does Michael Mayer look in action? He's been getting a lot of work from Chip Kelly, and he's been somebody that the Raiders have really put a strong focus point on this entire offseason. Ian Thomas, Albert O, they're battling right now for that tight end 3 spot. At least that's what was listed on the Raiders depth chart. For somebody like Quadir Ishmael, for somebody like Carter Runyon, what exactly do they look like in terms of that practice squad competition? But for the tight end room, Ian Thomas, Albert O, Michael Mayer is where I'm going to be focusing on. And then the offensive line. A lot of different moving parts. A lot of different moving pieces overall. And Jordan Meredith sounds like he's going to be the starter at the center position. And if it was up to me right now, if I had to guess, the starting offensive line that you see pictured is probably going to be the starting offensive line that you're going to see in that Week 1 game, or at least for the first preseason game. But right now, between JPJ, Jordan Meredith, Parham, Kappa, I think what you're seeing right now, there's a battle for like that interior position. How do the rookies look? Charles Grant, Caleb Rogers. Charles Grant's going to be playing tackle. Caleb Rogers is going to be playing offensive guard. But that starting offensive 5, if they trot out Colton Miller, if Colton Miller is the one they trot out there and I see him, I'm really going to believe that that offensive line, if Colton Miller is out there, is the offensive line that they believe is their top 5 unit, and the unit that you're probably going to see Week 1 up against the New England Patriots. Coming up next here on the show, though, what to watch for on the defensive side of the football. And as excited as I am to see the offense, because I think the Raiders' offense is light years ahead of where this defense is right now, if I'm being honest with you, I do think, though, we're going to learn more about the defense during this preseason game because of all the moving parts they have on defense right now after the trade with Jakorian, with the trade with Thomas Booker compared to the offensive side. So I'd almost make the argument that defense might be more important to watch in this game, though offense is going to be the more entertaining side to watch. Before we get into that, though, I know I said I'm giving away an Ashton Genty jersey during the game. I'm also presenting an amazing deal right now to any Raider fan out there that needs a brand new jersey. I mean this when I say this. There are tons of different Raiders jerseys available at chatsports.com/Raiders jerseys. I'm going to say it again in case you weren't paying attention. chatsports.com/Raiders jerseys. This link right here is in the live chat if you're watching this live video. It's also going to be down in the comments. It's also going to be down in the description if you were unable to watch this live. from Raiders Hall of Fame players to youth jerseys and all different shapes and sizes, small up to 5XL. They got big and tall jerseys, Mitchell and Ness custom jerseys. They have jerseys for your kids. They have jerseys for your significant others. If you need a Raiders jersey, they're on sale right now, and I have no idea how much longer they're going to be on sale for. So if you miss this deal, I'll be real, I don't think you're going to find a better deal. Heck, I just saw a Max Crosby jersey for $79.99. That's a hell of a steal, if you ask me. Let's go now to the defensive side of the football. First off, we're going to look at the defensive ends. If Max Crosby's on the field, you got to watch him, right? He's a game wrecker. He had a fumble recovery for a touchdown in the Raiders mock game. But Malcolm Kuntz, Tyree Wilson, where do they line up Tyree? How much do they line him at defensive tackle? How healthy does Malcolm look? What does that first step look like? The Raiders listed Tonka Hemingway as a defensive end in their first depth chart. Where do they use him? How much are they going to use Tonka the way they use Tyree, kind of like an interior player? A player like Jakoiran or a UDFA, somebody that's been really fighting for a roster spot. But I'll tell you this, the number one player that I think you could have made an argument that was one of the biggest winners from that Raiders mock game, Jafari Harvey. And he was really, really stood out to me. I think he was somebody that could have had 2 sacks. I loved what I saw from him in that mock game. And if he goes out there and he has another really solid preseason performance, I think that this could be low-key a player that we look at and go, that could be a potential Charles Snowden replacement if he has ended up suspended. Let's go to the defensive tackle room, and all eyes are going to be on the DTs. No Christian Wilkins. Leki Fotu was in a boot on Tuesday, so we don't know how healthy he's going to be. But that interior defensive line, it's got to be important. And sure, you're going to look at Thomas Booker, who the Raiders just traded for. Will Adam Butler get run? Quite frankly, I actually don't think that he needs any run. If it was up to me, I would really want to see what you got in Thomas Booker. I would really, really want to see what you got in Keandre Coburn, a player that the Raiders signed last week. What does J.J. Pegues look like? Because if Tonka's going to be converted defensive end, that means J.J. is going to get a lot of work on the interior, and he's a really fun player, a lot of versatility, but I need to see more out of him based on what I've heard from training camp. Jonnu Lalu, Zach Carter, Leki Fotu, they're all battling for that defensive tackle 2 spot, but I do think if Fotu's out, that could be more opportunity for Booker, more opportunity for some of these other defensive tackles, but Jonnu Lalu and Zach Carter have a massive opportunity in front of them right now. And I do think that both of those guys are going to go out there and give 110%. Quite frankly, I'd pay both of these guys the entire first half in this game. So give me a yes, give me a no, because I think when you talk about the preseason, this is always a topic of discussion. Do you play your starters or do you decide to sit your starters? You're about to get it with another YouTube ad break. While that ad is playing, scroll on down and give me your answer. If it was up to me, there are players like Max Crosby. There's players like Colton Miller. There's probably going to be a player along the lines of like Brock Bowers where I'm going, you know what? I don't necessarily know if I need to see them. I would like to see Geno. I would like to see Ashton. In my mind, if this is the first year that you're playing with this regime on the offensive side of the football, if you're playing for the first time with this team on the defensive side of the football, I would like to see you in action. I'll also say this. If you want to save the action for the second preseason game, I would rather beat the 49ers than beat the Seahawks. Though, I don't know if Pete feels the exact same way. But if I got to pick one or the other, I think we should play our starters because we got a brand new regime, a brand new team, and this team looks a lot different compared to last season. Let's go to the next position here that I want to be able to talk about, and it's the linebacker position. And there was a lot of question marks around the linebacker position because I would say right now your top 4 linebackers on this team, Jermaine Pratt, Landon Roberts, Devin White, and Jamal Adams. To me, those are your 4 linebackers that I'm pretty confident are going to make this squad. But do I think this team ends up keeping 2 more linebackers potentially? Do they decide to keep 6? That's going to remain to be seen. But for players like Tommy Eichenberg, Jalen Smith, Cody Lindenberg, and Amari Gaynor, I don't think we can really truly fully realize how important this preseason is going to be because I know Eichenberg, I think he's got a leg up right now over Gaynor and Lindenberg. Gaynor was a UDFA, somebody that was very high on. He's not a lock to make this roster. Quite frankly, I think he's on the outside looking in. Cody Lindenberg was drafted in the 7th round. I think he's a coin flip right now to make this team. The linebacker position on special teams and what they do in the game, especially in coverage, is going to be something that I look at, and you're going to be able to see which guys are moving around, who's wearing the green dot, 3 linebacker sets, a lot of moving parts there for this linebacker unit. I got 3 more positions to take a look at, but here's something that I need all of y'all to look at. I'm going to be in Tucson, Arizona on Friday, August 22nd, the day before the Raiders' final preseason game up against the Cardinals. Why? I'm going to be hanging out with my guy Fabian Moreno. I'm going to be hanging out with the, I believe, Raiders group out there in Tucson as well. And if you want to hang out with me, get some food, get some drinks, Friday, August 22nd from 12 to 3 p.m. Where? Desert Shark Tucson. Here's the address. Put it in your calendar. No excuses. Let's have a good time. And if we get a lot of people here, tell all your Raiders fans. If we get 200, 300 people here, I'll hang out all day. The more people we get here, the bigger the party can be, the better it helps out Fabian Moreno, and the longer we'll hang out and just have a good time. Can't wait to meet all y'all. Let's go to the cornerback position. And when you trade away Jakorian Bennett, there's going to be a lot of eyes at the cornerback spot. Yes, I want to see how Darian Porter, Eric Stokes, and Jakoiran Richardson play. Those are your top 3 cornerbacks. But if we're just talking about the cornerback position from a who ends up making the roster standpoint, you got to look at Darnay Holmes and Greedy Vance, because I think Greedy Vance is a lot closer to stealing that job than what people realize. I also think that JT Woods was a big-time factor in why Las Vegas decided to move on from Jakorian, because JT was getting reps over Bennett. And Bennett sounds like he might have been cornerback 5, cornerback 4 at the absolute best. Are they using Woods as a strong safety, free safety, cornerback hybrid? Or are they only lining him up at corner, which is what they've been doing over the past few days at training camp practice? Greedy Vance is going to be somebody you absolutely got to watch. JT Woods has got to be somebody you absolutely have to watch. Darnay Holmes needs to have himself, though, a good game if he wants to make this roster. Let's go to the safety position next up here on the Raiders report. And safety to me is the biggest question mark that we have. I like Jeremy Chinn. I like Isaiah Pola-Mao. But neither of those guys is a true starting free safety, and Jeremy Chinn's been getting a lot of work in the nickel and at strong safety. Isaiah Pola-Mao, they've kind of been using him the way they did last season, up near the box, strong safety. And with the injury to Lonnie Johnson Jr., which, by the way, again, Pete Carroll said that they're hoping they're going to be able to get him back in week 4 or 5. With him playing single high safety, which is what he did in that Raider mock game, who's going to be the player that steps up? Because the player that stepped up for him in that mock game was Chris Smith. Do they put Chris Smith on the field right away as a starter like they did Lonnie Johnson? Do they put Thomas Harper, who's got some safety experience playing up in the nickel? That's going to be really important. And then the Raiders player they drafted in the 7th round, the former Jim Thorpe Award winner, Trey Taylor, 7th rounder by that old regime. Somebody that I thought was going to be, somebody on this roster. Now it could be somebody on the outside looking in. If you want Trey Taylor to make this team, he needs to play well this preseason. And then let's go to the kickers. Let's go to special teams. I think when you have an opportunity to watch the guy that's the best in the world do it, you should watch A.J. Cole. When he punts, watch. Don't get me wrong. I don't want to see him out there in the field ever, but when you have an opportunity to watch somebody that is the best at what they do in the world, you're crazy not to watch them. Daniel Carlson, this is somebody that is in a contract year. He's probably somebody that feels like every kick that I do, whether it's the preseason, it's at the utmost importance. I'll be real, during the preseason, I want to see Chip Kelly go for it. I don't really want to see us kicking all these field goals, but if we got to do it, we got to do it. Punt return, kick return. I was really thinking that Tommy Millott was going to be responsible for some of these duties, but he is actually listed as the 4th guy on the depth chart for special teams. Trey Tucker's listed as the starting punt returner and the starting kick returner. What exactly are we going to see from Genty? Because I don't know if you guys noticed that. Genty was listed as a potential punt returner. That scares the hell out of me. I'm not going to lie to you. If they want to do it in practice, I'm all for it. In a game, in a preseason game, I'll be real, I'm not crazy about it. But Tommy Millott, that's somebody that's getting buried further and further on the roster. And I think based on what this team does during special teams, I think could really indicate what they decide to do with that final 10 guys in the roster and the practice squad. So one more time before I get on out of here again, I'm going to be live on the Raiders Report 2 hours before kickoff. It's going to be a late night, and I know that it's going to be a late night, but I would hope that you guys know we're going to have a hell of a time. We're going to be going crazy. We're going to be having a great, great time, and we're going to be giving away an Ashton Genty jersey. So if you haven't already, make sure you subscribe, turn on those noties, and I'll see you guys Thursday. Raiders, Seahawks, late game. Let's get wild here on the Raiders Report. Oh, boy. Yoda Jenkins. Big Monkey and Cove Utter doing touchdown celebration. The Utter dance would be epic. And also potentially illegal, Yoda. I'll tell you this. That would be something to see. And I don't know if I would even want to see it, quite frankly. Jersey Boy, if we're talking seafood dishes, Fruity de Mer?
It's like,
I don't know what
you
it
don't
is.
pronounce the I. It's like fruit de mar.
Fruit de Mar. I would say it looked French.
But I think it's Italian. It's like basically like a seafood salad. I don't like it because it has the octopus in there. I believe that's what it is.
I mean, mussels are the only other like seafood.
Oh
that
no,
I don't love.
never mind. I was thinking of something else. This is like a seafood pasta. So this is what it comes up with. Looks good. It has shrimp, mussels, clams in it.
Mussels are the only thing that I don't love. I'll eat them like if they're prepared like this and it's like all kind of mixed in there, but
I can mess with that.
That looks good. Like I would definitely try it.
I knew it was Italian, but for some reason I thought it was like the salad, like
oh, I see what you're saying.
Seafood salad almost.
Seafood salad. No thanks. If I'm going to eat seafood, I like it to be warm, though a good ceviche, I do like a good ceviche. Alex has definitely got me on the ceviche train. All right. I got a few people that are trying to get in the duck race. This is your final chance to get in. It is a $20 Venmo. The last time that I checked, it was for $290. I am happy to tell you we're going to be over $300. So, Richard Engel in. Brian Baca in. Sean Irish in. L.A. Crash Dog. You in. $20 Venmo. You would go home with $350 because Tristan Alum in. And then my guy, Ryan Campbell, the Soup Daddy. 20 to win, $350 here on the Raiders Report. That's a good chunk of change, man. 20 to win, $350.
All right, I'm putting the names in.
Get them in. Get them in. Ocean bugs are delicious from Chad C. Are those like things that bury themselves in the sand?
I think, from what I've been told, ocean bugs are crawfish.
Oh, okay. I mean, crawfish, yeah. Ocean bugs, though, I also think I like those, like, you know what I'm talking about? Things that bury themselves in the sand. Sand fleas is what I call them.
I don't think you can eat those.
I've heard people eat them.
Sand fleas?
Yeah, I know. Some like people like fry them. You know what I'm talking about or no?
No clue.
They're like gray. They bury themselves in the sand. I wouldn't eat them. But I know people that do. I think they're called sand fleas. Like the nickname. I've seen people eat those. Fry them up. Yeah, not for me, personally.
Yeah.
Not for me, but.
They don't.
No, if it was fried, I'm not saying I wouldn't try it. I'm not going to lie. I got a few more people, Chuggs, that are getting in this race. I need you to add Richard Kelly, Abel Negra, and then Darth Fat. Or wait, I got to do what? Darth Fartass. Darth Fartass will pop up. So now we are at 20 to win, 380.
All right, I'm putting them in. Last chance to get in.
All right, I need two more. Edwin.
Okay.
Edwin Reyes, and then Soldier Man. Soldier. Yeah, that's good.
All right.
All right, no more. No more. 20 to win, $400. 3, 2, 1. Let's go. Who's going to go home with 400 doll hairs? 400 doll hairs. Somebody's going to go home with it today here on the Raiders. But right now, Mark Cole out to an early lead, followed by Ray Aguirre. Watch out for Patrick Roche in the Bowser costume. I love that Darth. We can get away with fart ass now.
Platypus.
A platypus.
Darth Fat-Ass the Platypus.
Darian Schofield up there at the top. Anthony Green right there in the middle. Efron Ramos Watch out for Savannah Jean. Nathan Mensch. Getting really interesting there. Ryan Campbell. There's a lot of people. I would say right now Gunny's in the lead. Oh, sorry, Gunny. I jinxed you. Though it's not a bad thing. Mark Call. Richard Black. Patrick Roche. Darth. All lined up right now, and this is coming down to the wire.
Ahead.
Darth has ran a hell of a race. Oh, my gosh. Oh, Darth. Patrick Soldier Man with the win. Soldier Man up in that with the dub.
Watch me crank it. Watch me go.
Soldier Man, if you could please confirm that you just won $400.
Bryce. Bunghold.
Bryce Bird, you're getting the butthole pick. Dude, I actually feel bad for the leader. Who was leading the whole way?
Darth Fardass.
Darth was leading the entire thing, man. Very, very close race. But you know what? I had a great time tonight. We had a lot of different talking points again. Appreciate each and every one of y'all for pulling up today. I should also mention this. The Raiders also worked out Terrell Edmonds, Mekhi Gardner, and B.J. Mays. They had a tryout today. I will try to do my best to get you guys a little something tomorrow on those players, but I should just mention that they did have a tryout today. No signings, nothing else at this current moment. Obviously, if the Raiders do something, I will keep you guys up to date the next time that I'm going to be going live, 8 p.m. Eastern time, here on the Raiders Report for Raiders up against the Seattle Seahawks. I better see you there.